Iron Lords podcast. All right, and we are live. Welcome to the Iron Lords podcast, episode number 80. And it's another glorious Sunday. We are back at the round table on the Lord's Day. We've got Telltale studio closure, PlayStation Classic, backward compatibility, the future of Sony handhelds, and Nintendo Switch online game sharing to discuss. So we're going to get right into it. So let's introduce the Iron Lords of the round. Well, we got not 4 horsemen today, 3 horsemen today. Are the usual suspects at the round table. My co-host with the co-most might be coming in action. We got to see. Salute to Lord Addict. He's going through, his friend's going through something right now. He's there supporting his friend. So we want to show love. Hopefully,
Spider-Man dropped down on his boy and he kicked him in the bushes.
Oh my God! Take advantage of this man's friend's pain.
What up, Micro? Juke, baby. Spider-Man jumped out, hit him in the face with that juke.
We all sincerely hope your friend is doing quite well. We hope everything is fine.
I hope he's fine. I hope he's fine. Tell him to play Spider-Man while his leg is recuperating. Get that Spider-Man on.
Oh my God!
Tell him with his leg up, play Spider-Man with the juke.
Salute the Lord Addict, you know what I'm saying, doing his thing. And like I said, being there for the friend. We still might get him later on today, you know what I'm saying? But of course, you know, we still have our most technical gaming lord, the solo gamer who lives for the single player selfish experience. And also, Sostradamus, Mr. Offline Profile Illuminati and Lord Patreon of the Iron Bank. My man, Lord Sovereign, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. Fantastic, man. I had a crazy week at work. I didn't get a lot of gaming in. But when I finally sat down yesterday, first thing I did was get that platinum. I needed that Spidey platinum. I needed those receipts. I need to go get that done. So I got that done. And I dived headfirst into Tomb Raider. So just a little bit.
How you feeling? How you digging it, man?
The Tomb Raider is beautiful. Like some of the criticism that I've heard about it, it's not quite at that Uncharted level of polish, and it's true. Like in certain things, like facial animation stuff like that, but the like the environment art, the world, the detail in that world, it is amazing. They just need a little bit, like a little bit more to really get them there. And then the storytelling has never been on par with things like Uncharted stuff like that. It's always like, because you know what it is, they need to focus more. Like for me, I think great stories come from the interactions of characters. Like you know, Uncharted has always had that. I never really cared about the story of Uncharted, but the relationships. And it's the same for Tomb Raider. They try to make this close relationship with Jonah that doesn't really hit the way it should. And then beyond that, it's always this end of the world apocalypse type story that doesn't lend itself to like small moments really.
Gotcha.
So, but beyond that, the gameplay, you know, I love that game in terms of gameplay and stuff like that. It's fantastic. It's beautiful. So I'm gonna keep playing that, and then I've been playing some Switch. That's the only thing I've really had the opportunity to play. Playing that the Capcom bundle, the beat 'em up bundle.
I was tempted to get that. Yeah, I was tempted to give me the disc.
I wanted those.
We don't need to know about this. Like we don't need to know about your fake backward compat on Switch. Get out of here. Go ahead and push it. Yeah, man. Get out of there. No, we would not indulge that.
Baby.
We will not indulge that. We will not indulge that.
Talk about that Final Fight.
Raspberry Pi it.
These are all right.
Yo, it's the same game that you played when it came out. Yo, remember when we played it, B? Remember we used to put quarters in? Same game. Let's go. Next.
So this is the thing you really realize though when you have it for free, right? And it's
not for free.
Version. It's not for free. Yo, they program these games in such a way for you to just keep feeding those quarters in. Those games get so cheap towards the end. Yo, it's ridiculous.
Shout out to some guy in the chat. Tecmo Bowl on the Switch. Yeah, I was there.
I did all that. We'll talk about that.
Continue. So you were saying the way is designed?
Introducing.
And of course, someone's ready for the intro. We have the Incredible Hulk of this, aka the Excess Gamer.
Ooh.
Oh, his mic is lit right now. The Lord of Combat Sports was a man of his convictions. The man's nothing less than that premium experience and is the leader of the Fraud Alert movement.
Nah, I'm not giving it to you right there because I got stuff later.
all of this driving, and he holds up. He holds it like
you too, like
It's mine. It's mine. I can share it.
beloved Lord King. How you doing, sir?
Yo, shout out to everybody out there that watched that combat talk. Yo, check this out. Yesterday, man, I was so happy to be so wrong. I was so happy to be so wrong because I really wanted this kid, Anthony Joshua. Shout out to the champ. One champ, there's two champs out there. Wilder's the champ, the WBC, the Prestige champ. He is the other champ of the collectors. He's like he's Thanos getting the Infinity Gauntlet. He like he trying to get that last ring. But Wilder might have something to say about that. But let me tell you, man, I thought the Boogeyman and Povetkin would definitely handle his business. Yeah. I thought that he would drag it out. He would muddy it out. He would work him real good.
None of that?
No, in the first round.
He started it. He
bro. He brought that left right. You saw that left right, right? Right, Star?
Yeah, I saw something.
Hurt that nose, boy.
The old Russian bear was in there. He was in the
mix.
He was in the mix.
It was an even fight going to the 7th round for me.
Yep.
Okay.
And what I saw that Anthony did that was very intelligent was he took away Povetkin's jab. All right. So once he took away his jab, Povetkin became predictable and he was leaping in with left hooks and right hands, crosses and stuff like that. So he was able to time him properly. And when he got tired, because he's a smaller man trying to work his way in, Anthony didn't lean his body on him to make him tired. He made him tired by trying to work in to get the work done. And when he pulled back that lazy left jab, this boy exploded over the top with a right hand that was shot out of a cannon. Like he knew.
You have to see it, Kyle.
No, I saw a replay, a slow-mo of some like very extensive jab into like a power right hand.
You need to see it real time because real time is where you really see it. It was so fast. It was so fast and turned the tide of the fight in 2 seconds.
Yo, it was like, I got you now. And it exploded on his head like a grenade, like boom, right? And when he couldn't believe what just happened to him, he tried to gather himself, like yo, he was on top of him, and he did what he's supposed to do to finish him. That's what I was hoping Golovkin would have did with Canelo, because every time Canelo made a mistake, Golovkin didn't make him pay. He stayed safe in the jab, and he was trying to win on points. This young man. This was his 22nd pro fight. I think with 21 knockouts. Oh man, he has such a polish to him.
Let me just ask you a quick question, because y'all know, what I'm saying, combat talk. I've been the Need a King on this, and y'all. So my thing is like, is this dude like? Doesn't Wilder have the other belt?
Yes.
Yeah.
So like, this kid has 2 belts or 1 belt?
No, he has 4.
Oh yeah, okay. So this is not the next thing. Like, why are we not getting?
Wilder has to fight Tyson Fury first.
No. Let me break it down real quick. We don't want to drag our combat talk.
But I had to ask. Yeah.
The reason why they're not fighting now is because the snake oil salesman Eddie Hearn, didn't want to risk that payday first. They thought that they can build the fight. They kept trying to put people in front of Wilder so he could lose. Luis Ortiz is the boogeyman of the East. Wilder knocked him out after a precarious fight, where he was in danger too. You understand? So this is the boogeyman of the West, and AJ took out the boogeyman. So both boogeymans is off the board, but along comes a spider in Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury has set the fight with Wilder in December 1st. Once they get Tyson Fury up out of there, I'm pretty sure he'll be, his coke self is up out of there, and that's not alleged. He did coke, and that's why he messed up. He gonna get up out of there. Wilder and this guy will get it on. I don't think they're gonna get it on in April. They will get it on sometime next year. As what I was playing,
what you playing?
I'm playing Spidey, son.
Finally, let's go.
Yeah, I took it out the wrapper. Okay. I was playing my Destiny yesterday. And then, I was just like, yo, let's get it on, because I was halfway sleepy and I was saying I had to watch the fight, and my son was dying to see it. And I put it on, and I put it on my TV. Bro. It might be the definitive game this generation. Like, it might be the definitive game this generation. As far as visuals and control,
What about that seamless transition between, you know what I'm saying, the regular in-game play and then right into cinematic that's in real time?
Well,
That's what I mean.
it's all real time.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I mean,
I'm calling it
Sovereign
cinematic, but yeah, you're right. It's real time. Yeah.
Sovereign knows. Like Sovereign, are you still on the Panasonic Elite, or you?
No,
Or,
bro, I'm the Samsung
oh no,
KS8000, man.
no! I'm just asking
I,
because I wanted to know what that, because that platinum is crazy. I want
oh
to
no,
know.
that
Yeah.
Yeah.
yo, the crazy thing is I have the Elite put to the side. I'm trying to find a home for it, right? I
Right.
don't want to get rid of it like that because I have such reverence for that TV.
Yeah.
But it's like everything is so far surpassed it now.
Yeah.
But that, I mean, yeah, the black levels on that TV are ridiculous.
Yo,
Black level.
you know what I will ask you to do? Please, put it on it and live stream that. I mean, I just want to know what it looks like on that TV, because that's all I can think about. I know my TV is nice and all that other stuff, but I was like, man, that's the first thing that popped in my head. I wonder what this Elite is doing to the Spider-Man right now. Like, I thought you put it in the bedroom or something like that.
I might consider doing that because I cannot bear giving it to somebody who doesn't respect it.
That TV demands respect.
Out of control.
No, it's serious. Come on, man. That TV is respect.
I hear y'all, tech files. I hear y'all. And of course, we have the gaming ninja himself, the Shinobi, Lord Cognito, spreading that realness in the realm of the ILP. Not telling you what you want to hear, but what you need to hear. So, yeah, for me, it's just Destiny, man. It's a full-time damn job. I mean, it just is what it is. We've been leveling crazy. I think I'm like 550 something right now. We started the raid. We actually started 2 raids. We did. I got one. Shout out to my LNA crew, Dizzy and them. You know what I'm saying? We got one. Yeah, shout out to
Dizzy. Yeah,
Dizzy in there getting Reap, Frodo, Zero, everybody. Zero's he part-time everywhere. But yeah, man, like it was cool. We're gonna set up Spire Stars with them. I'm trying to get that sleeper simulant catalyst. So we're gonna go back to that raid that you and Taco already did, because I actually didn't do that raid. You know what I'm saying? And I want to get that sleeper. I'm really on that sleeper.
I gotta hit the fraud police real quick.
Okay, I'm gonna give you. Let you go. Go for the fraud. Might as well. Go ahead.
All right. So I know y'all all looking around for AJ at this moment, and shout out to Lord Attic. I'm calling the big fraud on that situation because right before we supposed to go on the air, he know that people was checking for that Spider-Man.
Yo, you guys were in the chat early. I can't wait for Attic to bend the knee.
Attic is not afraid of the smoke. He will be here.
Yeah, we don't know that. Well, what's being shown is the fraud is out. So it's just curious.
So this is a fake. This is a fake emergency.
No, we believe it's a real emergency that he turned into the code 10. It was probably like a code 2, and they had a handle, and he was like, "Nah, I'm gonna be here. This is the code 10. I'm gonna work this out." But also, I got to call the fraud police on myself for waiting for so long for Spider-Man.
Yes.
Also, I got to give a fraud police to myself again for getting extra sensitive with my clanmate, Hardcore HD. You understand? He is a rough. He's a sandpaper dude. Yeah. And sometimes you don't want sandpaper on your skin. Well, that day, I got sandpaper on my skin, and the kid didn't feel it. Yeah, the kid didn't feel the sandpaper, so I was extra salty with it, and he being him, and I gotta understand that you gotta take everybody's personality how they are. You gotta love them for how they are. So that's my clanmate 101 for real. And he's always been there for me. So I apologize for being super salty there.
Let me double down too, because so here's the thing. This is when you know Destiny is good. When you fight with your friends. Like when Destiny's good, you fight with your friend. Every moment, comes out. And I want to salute Lord Xbox. Me and him kind of got into it a little bit. And it just has something to do more so with just getting a group together at the last minute. And I did something for Sinister. I just threw out like a LFG for something they do. I don't know how to do that blind well, how they do the escalation protocol instances.
Yeah, for sure.
They know how to do it. So they like, look, you can just do it, da-da-da-da. So I wasn't even thinking. I just put it out, you know what I'm saying? So Xbox like, yo, what's up? Like, Clan don't get, you know what I'm saying? So we kind of bump heads, but salute Lord Xbox. That's my dude, you know what I'm saying? Sandpaper versus sandpaper at that moment. We both wanted what we wanted, you know what I'm saying? But it's all love. But it's just a testament to how, in my opinion, and I had this conversation with Ebontis on Flashpoint, like, when Destiny is good, man. Like if it's not you fight with your man in the raid,
because that's what happened. Yo, that's what happened with me in hardcore. It happened in the raid. So I was messing up on some stuff, and it was a jump. Yo, oh man, like we got past the second phase, and we started clicking. Shout out to Lord Micro that's in the chat. And we started clicking, and we was going, and I messed it up. Like I couldn't do my jump.
Nobody wants to blame. That's the thing.
No. He had his blame pointing out. But I'm like, he like, what you using as your weapon? And I'm like, mind your business, because we're still doing it.
The king is speaking
being very direct.
So true. Shout out to Neil, because Neil was in the same situation with us too. And we like, no, like you gotta step on the plate and you gotta do this. And we like, he's like, don't tell me how to do it. You know what I'm saying? So he was on his Action Jackson. You know what I'm saying? This moment, kind of thing. So it's one of those things, and that's what it all comes down to. This is when Destiny's good. Action, baby. Everybody wants to get in raids. Everybody wants to not get left out of activities. You know what I'm saying? And that's when it's just that camaraderie. So salute to the clan. We got through our sandpaper moments. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to reach out to the Lords. We're going to do this thing. You know what I'm saying? So
me, you, and Chad got to sit together today, go through the list one by one.
Yeah, because the clan is getting full.
If dudes haven't been playing in a week, you're out of here, son.
It's getting to that point where we've had max capacity on the clan. Salute to everybody. Actually, shout out to Lord Megatron. He's about to jump in real quick. You know what I'm saying? He heard us even listening to Flashpoint. He's like, I got to get down with this raid stuff. I'm hearing y'all talking. I'm excited. Whatever. But we're gonna have to make some audits. Based on activity level, it's to the point now where it's so active. If you're not active, unfortunately, we're gonna have to make some cuts. But
I will gladly concede my.
No. You whatchamacallit. You founding member, like you like one of the founding Avengers. It's like kicking Captain America out. That's not gonna happen. So, but what's gonna happen is, and we're gonna pull you into HR. We're gonna tell you that we're gonna hit you with your performance level isn't exactly where it needs to be. You see this bar here? This bar is adequate. You are performing down here. So. Out of here.
No doubt. But yeah, other than that, man, you know what I'm saying? We had that Kings on Live. But yes, I've been messing with the Switch, the online games. It's
online? Online?
Yes.
I didn't test the arm. Had to pay that arm and the leg, to do that.
You only put your arm inside the online part. Yo, it was like arm line. Yo, it was arm line.
So what I did was so I remember the pro wrestling.
Oh my
God. I was getting it on, man. Fighter
Hayabusa Star, man. Oh my Lord.
Blender. You know what I'm saying? That game was so it really still holds up. Like, if you play it, back in this, they was doing something. You go to the top rope, you throw. They had outside the ring
action. I mean, I think Tecmo World Wrestling was more polished overall. But for a first attempt,
for a first attempt, and then 1, 2, 3, and then the thing light up, and you know what I'm saying. The music is really good. I'm like, the music.
I still got that cartridge. Can we go on?
And of course, classic Mario 1. You know what I'm saying. It's just something about those Nintendo.
Yeah, it's something about buying same old stuff every other year. It's something about that. New hardware. Playing that old jam.
Listen, it's like when that old album come on. You remember what you was doing.
But you ain't purchased it again. I don't see you going out and buy Stillmatic.
You're a savage. So man, just like I said, a lot of the games just make you smile. So I was doing that, and 2K, man, 2K for Switch is just popping. Like I love the story mode. They doing it like even China, and like they're doing it.
You had to buy you had to take out a second mortgage on that memory card.
No, because I got the 128, baby. I'm out here.
Could you imagine those people that ain't got it?
They got it.
How's the Switch one in terms of bugs? I'm hearing like people having.
I'm not having any issue. I'm not having any issue.
Those are the people trying to play online.
Full disclosure. But remember, technically the entire game is online. Because if you try to play 2K, you have to log into this, so you cannot play it really offline. You know what I'm saying? For the most part, I mean the my player mode, because it's like I think it goes to the server to keep checking and save your stuff to their database or whatever. So yeah, like it's lit. Like your facial anime, yo, the graphics is lit. I'm like, yo, like you in China, you're trying to work your way. Like I guess you didn't make the NBA draft. Like it's a full fledged like sports games right now. 2K right now is a full fledged cinematic story, straight up.
Okay.
Like everything, like yo, I need an agent, da da da. Then you go out there and like the Chinese coach, he not really respecting you. And then what happens is like, yeah, it's funny. Like, and then what happens, like you trying to get to the NBA man hard, so you trying to shine. And I guess your man that you grew up with, like he's on some like he made it to the NBA. He's starting for the Lakers with LeBron and them. So then like they do like an exhibition game with like the best Chinese team which you guys make, and then like you face against them and your man. It's like they put this fictional character on the Lakers to give you a backstory with this guy. He made it, you didn't, and like you like, yo, I'm trying to get this look.
Oh, that's the same exact joint that they did with Madden.
Yes. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yo, man, it's really, really cool. I love what they're doing in the story. Like, I can't for normally most games, the acting. You know who they got for the acting, King?
Who?
They got your man, the Falcon, the Aaron Mackey.
Yeah,
He's
and
one of
I
the
can't
coaches.
stand him.
You know what I'm saying?
Yo,
They
he
got
said
him.
it. He
And
said
then
it
for
like it was somebody I actually liked. Like I was gonna get the game. Yo, they got your man. Your man, you know that dude that you threw in the bushes? Yeah, him.
Yo, Aaron Mackey does a great job. He's one of the people that scout you. And then for the 2K veterans, like if you've played past 2K My Player Stories, you always have like this rival, right? This dude that come to the court, pop that mess.
Dude, they got his face?
Yes, they have their face.
No, I'm talking about Aaron Mackey's face.
Yes,
I
fully
can't
captured.
stand his face.
It's him. Like it's literally him. You know what I'm saying?
They should have just used his voice and just threw his face
No
in.
doubt. Shout out to Paul Koenig at Pro Wrestling, no doubt. But you like, listen, they did a fantastic job. The story's great. I'm really enjoying it. You know what I'm saying? And just doing your My Player. So that's pretty much been it for me on that. You know what I'm saying? So we got to get to this poll, y'all. So last week's poll results are in, and the people have spoken to the question. With all the recent announcement of the latest Nintendo Direct, how did this affect your outlook on the future of the Nintendo Switch moving forward? The winners at 47%
Winners.
in the first ever ILP poll tie
Wow.
was the same old ports and bad online service group. And there were great games announced, and Switch future is bright group. The Nintendo Switch is clearly the most polarizing topic in the world.
That is awesome.
I think
awesome.
that encapsulates the Switch perfectly.
Yes.
Perfectly. It's like cut down the middle.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Because I had my squad in there spamming the button.
But yo, salute also, you know what I'm saying, to the third place who actually made it a tie, the Shallows, with the West coming in at last place, messing things up at 6%. Was the I don't care, no Labo announcements that I stopped watching. So they actually messed it up so that there wasn't a definitive winner. Lord King, what do we think about this?
I think the polls have spoken. It's either yay or nay.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. I was laughing. I could not believe this was going on. But shout out to everybody. You know what I'm saying? Oh, shout out to Punch in the chat. What's up? Yeah,
What up,
everybody who voted. You know what I'm saying?
What
New
up,
ILP poll will be coming in at the end of the show. So we got these topics, man. So initially, this was going to be for Lord Addict. You know what I mean? He set this off. So we've got, some breaking news, some news that.
Fraud alert! We got a fraud in the building.
Oh man, Lord Anchorman in the building, right on time. Lord Anchorman, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing fine.
No
Getting these last minute invites. I've been on 3 podcasts in the last 24 hours.
We was walking in the door. Somebody stuck their foot in.
Anchor, man, right on time. So obviously you know what's going on, and another reason why I want to get Anchor because he has a different perspective on a lot of things. And this one was a surprise. We definitely the news broke. As far as what's going on with Telltale, the layoffs, and actually that just a full studio closure. And the the press release went out. Basically they said it was an incredible, difficult year for Telltale. They worked to set the company on a new course. Unfortunately, they ran out of time trying to get there. They released some of their best content this year and received a tremendous amount of positive feedback, but ultimately that did not translate to sales. With a heavy heart, we watch our friends leave today and basically spread out to other parts of the industry with their brand of storytelling. Now, what I thought also was interesting, there was also people complaining. There was some rumors about conditions, what I'm saying, as far as what's going on there, work schedule and so forth, and the challenges of making these games that they had. And the last thing is I want to shout out Emily Buckshot. She's on Twitter, and she's a former Telltale employee. And she had some interesting things to say, about the crunch and what's going on. And yeah, so I don't know if you guys got a chance to see this, but
did you see the PR guy stuff too?
Yeah, I did see the PR kind of stuff too.
Yeah, I'm sorry I don't know his name offhand. I was just reading the thread, and he said that he wasn't privy to a lot of information and stuff was held back from him as far as him being, because he's the sole PR person that was for it. So I guess the word wasn't really getting out, because when you have a one-man ship, you can't really sail all over the place, and those games are great, but
it felt like upper management was privy to what was happening and middle and lower management were not.
Right.
So that created this whole surprising thing at the end where nobody it came out of nowhere.
Right. So let's just clarify what Emily said. So pretty much she's like, basically, because everybody was like, it shocked the industry. No one expected it to happen. There was some little inklings, but no one really said full closure. Like,
exactly. Now.
Exactly. Oh my God, we were not privy to the information that maybe Eggman had. But yeah. So pretty much what she said, basically around 250 people are jobless, not the 225 that initially was reported. She said they didn't get any type of severance. Their health care only lasts for one more week. Many former employees were contracted, can't get unemployment. She talked about the cost of living in the Bay Area. Because remember, a lot of that San Francisco, people were living paycheck to paycheck. And there's also people who started at Telltale as recently as a week ago. Some of them had kids. They were from cross country. They relocated. So basically, she just pleaded to put out, like, if there's any position in the industry, to please go share them to Telltale Jobs. And a lot of people out here scrambling. So let me get this to Lord Anchor first, man, because obviously, me and you've gone at it offline on certain things. We haven't gone at it, but we had this discussion. So like, what is your feeling on this whole thing? Like, were you shocked? And like, what ultimately, do you think happens now? Like, where's your whole pulse on this thing?
I'm going to preface this by saying two things, two qualifiers. One, what I'm about to say, I'm saving for my my volcano hot take for Monday, which will be tomorrow.
No doubt. So what the hell you coming here for? You time out.
I'm not giving you the juicy stuff.
No, I'm not gonna allow you. I'm not gonna give you the good stuff. I'm gonna give you the BS stuff. I'm just here, just to jerk wreck. Like,
You're not going to get the volcano hot sauce. You're getting the Taco Bell fire sauce.
Wow. That's garbage. You're getting the bushes.
Go ahead. Give us your best second.
And what I'm going to talk about, I'm not talking about the developers themselves who ended up working for Telltale. None of this is their fault. But I have no remorse at all for Telltale going down this route.
Wow.
Because this is a prime example of a studio cashing out rather than cashing in. Where they had their success in 2012 when they won Game of the Year for Walking Dead Season 1.
Yes.
And they did nothing.
No, Define did nothing. Because I want you to be very clear on your position. Like, you define.
He's saving that. He can't tell you.
Ultimately, what they did was they said, okay, from now on, the games we are making, it is Telltale Walking Dead Season 1, but with a different franchise.
Yeah.
They did this whole helix structure. They didn't change it. It's the same type of game every single time.
But that game kind of rocks, though. I kind of actually like what they did with Guardians with that. I like what they did with Wolf Among Us. Yeah,
they chose to milk it rather than evolve it, is what.
Right. Like what Sony does with every franchise. Like
what no. This is the difference between cashing out and cashing in. They cashed out. They said we have a lot of goodwill. People trust us. We're the prime of the industry right now. But instead of us developing ourselves and making ourselves better, trying to innovate and make sure the studio itself can survive going forward. What they did is they cashed out and said, no, we're just going to make the same game over and over and over again until nobody cares anymore.
So you basically attributed that's been the people who detract on Telltale, one of their biggest issues tend to be like that engine, right? Because we've seen other people mimic the formula.
They have no physics. It's the same engine. Everything is scripted. They have not invested. They were just talking about going to Unity. Just recently.
Right. That is correct.
Talking about
that is correct.
It's like,
that is correct.
It's been 6 years. You're just now deciding to go to Unity?
Right. And I will give you this, because you do make a valid point on another level too, as far as besides that, it just seems so sudden. So again, I don't know the details, but
it seems so. I just finished the last game.
You know what I'm saying? Like it just feels, like they were doing. You would assume with all the licenses they get. Remember, they had Game of Thrones, Guardians of the Galaxy, Batman. They were coming out with Stranger Things. You know what I'm saying?
Back to the Future, Stranger Things,
huge IPs.
Yeah. I get it. I don't believe them that this was. Oh, we didn't know. Oh yeah, sorry guys, it all happened. I don't believe them. I still think there's more that's gonna come out. I'm waiting for the Jason Schreier.
Wait for that Jason Schreier exclusive.
I'm waiting for that. Like, okay, this is what's going on.
I'm waiting for the hot sauce
I would not
that
be
you're gonna put on Monday.
I would not be surprised if it comes out that there was money mismanagement.
I
think taking money away.
I think that.
I would not be surprised.
Absolutely. Let me shout out about Lord Brandon Mosley in the chat. Salute him. We asked Dilla last night. That's the dude right there. He said this is an industry-wide problem. Designers, developers, and other creative professionals are sucked dry and spat out with no regard to their humanity. So he's saying that this is actually a big issue that's continuing going on in the industry. Now, what did you say, Lord? Anchorman, as far as the whole, I know, right? That was like Freudian.
Hey, you the stand-in.
And what do you feel about the human side, though? I know how you feel about the company, but what about the human side? What about
what about the little people?
You know what I'm saying? Like these people.
Of course, those people. It's not their fault. They're working for the machine. They're working for corporate. This is how things work.
Right.
Like the corporate. Like I live in North Carolina. We're a right to work state. No unions here. Like it just they're gonna chew you up, spit you out. That's how corporate works.
He comes from that side, and I'm coming from the side that we need unions to help protect our people. And these people got the door the next day, and I'm coming. All right, you're coming from the standpoint of that side, right? And I'm gonna come from the standpoint of this side. This side is I just finished that game, and I thought they were on the rise. I was like, "Ooh, best game yet." I've
heard good things about it, King. I've heard really good things.
I was like, I can't wait for the next one.
But apparently, you're in the minority in this case because no one's buying it.
And you know what? I think Microsoft could have saved them.
I think Microsoft should save them.
What I'm talking about, they could have saved them as far as they could have brokered a deal with Microsoft to put all those games inside Game Pass. Wonderful. Or put it on PlayStation Now.
Here's the thing you're not thinking about, though.
What?
That is a lot of money.
Yeah.
That is a lot of money to start investing in them. And not just that.
If they're not making any money now.
You're looking at it from nostalgia glasses, though. Where
I'm
just storytelling.
I'm specifically looking at it by what Phil has said that how he wants to put
the
story-driven games on.
Right, true. That's what I'm saying.
Telltale's formula did fit that whole mold.
That's what I thought he was talking to when it does to that anyway.
But
you're also not keeping track of YouTube exists. There's a great little I'll pull this up for you guys. Dan Stapleton over at IGN had a great take on this.
What do you say?
Like I'm gonna pull this up for you guys.
Oh, people putting out the whole story.
Yeah.
No, this is just by his impressions on it, and I think this is exactly dead on. So this is what his little tweet thread said. Telltale was an interesting developer. Its breakout hit, Walking Dead Season 1, was something unlike anything we'd seen before.
Yes.
Its maturity and emotion was almost unprecedented. That was amazing. But everything after that was something we'd seen before in a new set of clothing. Its problem, I think, is its failure to come up with new gameplay to complement the storytelling. Instead, it pared back gameplay in favor of pure story, which led me to wonder why I was playing this instead of just watching it on
Watching
YouTube.
it. No, that's a fair excuse. Go ahead, Soft.
That's a perfectly. I mean, you talk about the saturation. You talk about okay, the engine being a joke, the saturation of the product, right? And that's exactly what I think their problem was. If you look at if something like Until Dawn, if you look at even Detroit Become Human, Life is Strange. My impression is that those games have mechanics which at the very least give the impression of more agency within that story, within that world, right? With Walking Dead, it's still, you can have some diverging paths, but you ultimately always come back to the same ending, right? There was no real choose your own adventure moment. It just gave you the impression that it was doing that. So
that's the next part of this Dan Stapleton quote. He says, after a couple of games, the helix structure became obvious. No matter what you did, no matter who you or who remembered what, the effects only mattered for a short time before you're brought back to a common point. The illusion of choice was shattered and nothing mattered anymore.
You know what? I gotta keep it a buck. I've played 90% of their games. And I will say that is very true. Initially, how they started was very ambitious in that you could affect the endings, characters would die. Especially with The Walking Dead, they really attempted, especially with the what's the character that used to take care of Clementine? He was the white guy that was besides Lee.
No, I remember his son.
You know what I'm talking about? Like he would duck.
I know you're talking about.
You know the father. Yeah. So they had a different story arc, and I'm like, okay. So I was very excited to see. But when they started to regurgitate some of the same formula, Lord Angerman is right. What Dan Stapleton is saying is that you made choices that would affect short-term things, small things. But ultimately, the game would get you back into the rail.
I would say this because I'm going to have to agree with Chief Tommy here. Maybe that crunch time stuff actually made them scale back things that they were ambitious with. And instead of shooting 2 to 3 endings, they had to formulate it to get right back to that one concise ending that they was able to do to move on to the next project.
It just it felt like they like Angus said, like they made the decision to roll these out. Put these on like an assembly line and just keep rolling them out rather than evolve the formula. Was
that upper management? Was that middle management? Or was it,
whatever it was? It was a decision. It was a decision made that affected the company moving forward. Like it was.
I'm sorry, so I gotta say something real quick. That Johan Zell, shout out to him in the chat, man. He listens to us at work every Sunday, man. Salute. He's making a good point that we're all not seeing, and I didn't even think about this, and he's right. He's saying, but there's people that are not well versed on controlling video games and like playing these styles of games because it's simple and engaging. My wife is a big example, and that's true because I've showed people Walking Dead games and those Telltale games that have never played, and I just hand them a controller, and all they got to worry about is like one button, maybe press up, left, direct for a QTE, and they got into it. I've showed this game to non-gamers. You know what I'm saying? Salute my boy Randy. Well, Randy's a gamer, but salute Brandon. A lot of people, my boy Paul, like they really game casually. You know what I'm saying? Like they haven't really gamed how we game, and they got into these. And I always see people just sit there and watch me. You know what I mean? So it did have a market. Maybe it wore itself thin with the hardcore game, but once we figured out the overall mechanics and where this thing go. But it is interesting too, to Lord Anchorman's point, is that it didn't translate into sales anymore. We have to be honest with that. You know what I'm saying? Like it still didn't translate into sales anymore. And is that mismanagement? What is that, right? Like, oh man, this is crazy.
You know the point where I knew there was a problem? When the first part, like if you notice, what everyone kept asking for was give us Wolf Among Us Season 2, finish Walking Dead. Give us those 2 things. That's what people want. They didn't listen. They said, now here's some Batman, here's some Guardians of the Galaxy, here's some Game of Thrones.
But if you getting the big check, the big check knock on the door, you like, hello? Like the big check.
They didn't want to listen. So that's fine. That's like, okay, you follow that money. That's okay. But when they announced last year, we're going to do Wolf Among Us Season 2, we're going to finish Walking Dead, I knew there was a problem.
Because you figure because
you don't go back. You don't go back to what fans want unless you're desperate.
Another
good example, Gearbox.
Why Destiny? Oh, you don't know. You're right. No, you're right. Because Destiny 2 had to be humbled when they tried
they got their head pushed.
They tried to kill. Anchorman is on it. I got to give him this.
That casual stuff ain't work.
The numbers went to the toilet. Everybody abandoned the
Bushes.
game. It was in the bushes. And then what did they have to do? Community summit, brought all the community leaders over there, get back to what the core people want. And then look where we are for a second. They're lucky that they're able to pull off one of the greatest.
That is the big point.
They had the money.
When you look at studios and you look at developers, what they will do is that sometimes you have like a rare, like, you know, out of 1 out of a million, out of the blue kind of studio who will always know.
Why do I feel
actually, I wasn't going to say Bethesda. I was going to say okay. Every once in a while, you have someone who actually says, "We're not going to do these random projects." I wasn't going to use Bethesda in this case. I was going to use CD Projekt Red.
No.
You can use them. Don't use Bethesda because Bethesda rehash everything all over.
I think Bethesda, because with Bethesda's problem is a little more because they're now moved into a publishing role. Mm-hmm. They do what people want, but they also do projects they want to do.
Right.
It's not really good for like this analogy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I would say more in terms of more in terms of like CD Projekt Red. They're doing something. You have developers who will do what people want, and that's all they do, and that's a 1 out of a million kind of thing. But when you have other situations where you'll have a developer who they don't listen to the fans because they think they know better, and then they will crash and burn. And then they come back. They come crawling back, just like Gearbox.
Nintendo don't crawl back, man. Nintendo keeps moving.
He wants to clarify his statement. He said he didn't say that. He said Telltale had a very toxic environment, and the engine caused a lot of issues. Crunch time is normal in the industry, but obviously it was really bad at Telltale Studios. So that's his position. But go ahead, Sav. You was about to say something.
Real quick, back to Joe Hansel's point about these games being
sorry for misquoting you, Steve Tommy.
That it's true that these type of games, the simplicity of these games, really do appeal to more casual gamers. The thing about it is, with casual gamers, they're also not willing to sort of sift through all the jankiness and craziness. Like for me, like with my nephews and my niece, that they're very, their attention span is very short. If something they're playing is not working properly, they're gone. They're gone, and that goes back. And that goes back to the engine, and the engine on every single platform they put it on had issues. So at some point, even the people who like the casualness of the gameplay and the mechanics of it, if they can't get past the technical the hiccups of it, it's not going to appeal to them, and they're going to turn it off quickly. So I think that's another issue that happened with that, and it goes back to what Anchor said from the beginning. Like from the very top down, it almost seems like they were apathetic to improving the formula for the player, and just it feels like they just cared about making money in the moment and nothing else.
They didn't invest in themselves. They didn't bother to try to do anything. And you guys have known me. I have talked about this for years.
You have.
I said I want you to try something different.
Right. No,
anything.
I remember.
Just show me they're trying.
Right.
And they wouldn't do it.
I have to give you credit, Lloyd. You have been very consistent from the even when they were in their hay. You were like, yo, I'm not feeling them using the same formula over and over again. Engine you had issues with, and you're just like, hey, do something different. And I get that. You know what I'm saying? And it's just one of those things. I just want to get into my point real quick. It's sad for me though, man. Like this one hurt, bro. Like I love that game. I'll never forget Walking Dead, the first season, and I remember watching the videos of grown people crying at the end. And, if you haven't played it, with the character Lee. So it's just like that really, I was like, yo, they were doing something at that time no one were doing, you know what I'm saying? And it was just narrative driven. It was good. You had the feels, all that stuff. And it just, with this, it's just like, yo, what the hell happened? Like, they didn't feel like there was a ton of warning signs. Like, they just, you know what I'm saying?
I was playing Batman, man. I just purchased Guardians and stuff. Like I'm purchasing. It's too much stuff out. Okay, I don't have time to be sitting there doing this stuff, so I get it at my leisure. And I thought they will always be around.
And shout out, it's one of those things. Like stupid whores out here. We know them Telltale games used to help us, man.
Yeah, that's how you get the extra achievement.
That's 80,000 right there. That's
Bro, let me tell you, when I won shout out to Lord, that's the only time I've shout out to Lord Rand, shout out to Lord Undead. That is the only time I've ever won game score of the month. I did. I got the Anchorman. Remember, Anchorman was like, "Yo,
I remember.
he was my coach."
You're not going through the different short games like, yeah, pick up this game
like,
here. It's $2.
He was like, "Yo, make sure you hit this. Make sure you hit that stupid chariot game. Remember what is it called? The chariot game."
Ben-Hur.
Oh, the Ben-Hur.
Hit Ben-Hur.
He was teaching you how to fraud.
Yeah, I was in there frauding. I was. I must beat Rand. I must beat Undead. Those two were on, and Megatron. My bad, I slew Megatron.
Yep.
Those three were on my heels because that was right before Destiny. I said, look, before Destiny 2 comes out, I'm actually going to play other games. I'm going to finish Mad Games. I'm going to try to win the month. And Telltale came to the rescue. I did all the Minecraft games. I did the Batman game. I did Guardians of the Galaxy. I still got Telltale games on deck. I still ain't finished. So shout out to them on that gamer score for all you achievement hunters out there. You know what I'm saying? We're going to miss you off top. But ultimately, man, it's just, like I said, it just really, it hit me, this one. And it's just one of those things that, they were always, they were the shining star at that time when they dropped those joints. And I guess, like Anka said, the truth is going to have to come out. It's going to have to be like one of those
things come and things go.
Yeah,
we may not even find out anything else about like 2 years from
2 years later. Yeah,
we may not find out about it till then.
Exactly.
I know I'm hoping against hope here, but I still think there's an opportunity for Microsoft to. Again, I'm just.
But there's no studio, Saul.
No,
they're broken up.
But yeah, there's no studio to acquire.
I just think you need to do a number of things, right? You need to improve that engine. You need to improve the storytelling. You need to make it a true choose your own adventure. You need to look to things like Until Dawn and Detroit Become Human to evolve that formula. To evolve the formula.
That's the thing, Sav. We keep looking to Telltale because we got these nostalgia glasses. We remember them for what they did for Walking Dead and Wolf Among Us. We remember them for that, but they're dead.
No, that's fine. I don't mean them per se.
They are mentally gone. We were thinking from them as the 2012 studio. We're thinking you guys were the peak.
Sovereign made a great point. The other people came behind Detroit and the other game Until Dawn, and they took what they did and just added on to it made it a little bit better.
There's people who blew Telltale out of the water.
Well,
there's one game I'm thinking of. There's one game I'm thinking of that did that. Where they said, we're taking the whole idea of where choices matter.
Life is
We're taking that idea. No.
This is what's it called? The Ghost game.
No.
I know.
No. There's a game that is universally beloved. It came out in the last few years that took over that mantle. Where Telltale, that formula of the Helix engine, gone. No one cares about that anymore. A game where choices mattered and gameplay was deep. Witcher 3.
How is Witcher 3 really?
You play Witcher 3?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, choices do matter.
Yeah, of course, but
not just that.
Like, if the actual thing though,
you were saying it like you was dropping a bomb.
Spoiler. This is a spoiler.
Let me drop the spoiler. We getting ASOS now.
End of Act 1. You have the character of the Bloody Baron. You go through that thing, and this is how big of a difference it is. That thing has like 6 different, drastically different endings that change the rest of the story.
Right.
That's something that Telltale never did.
It's already
also
Telltale.
Okay, all right. Let's scale it back. Let's scale it back.
What I mean by choose your own adventure.
Time out. Let's scale it back. Let's stop what you doing, right? And let's bring it into like. See, if you said something like Life is Strange, if you said something like Detroit, you would have said something like Until Dawn. I mean, in Detroit and Until Dawn, there's a little break off of the same engine and the same format. Let's keep it in the same format because you're going to talk about an action adventure game with multiple endings and with different junctions and parts. Sorry.
Oh yeah, it's not fair because Telltale had 6 years to try to do something different.
But that's not their pedigree though. That's like asking a boxer to become an Olympic sprinter. Stop what you're doing.
The interaction with the game is totally different. We're talking about a game that can appeal to people like hardcore gamers as well as casual. Like The Witcher 3 is not it. Like it's not.
He said he wanted an Autobot to turn into a Decepticon. You turn into that.
I understand where he's going.
I get where he's going.
The point you look at it though is what were the strengths of Telltale? It was choice
Right.
That was the biggest thing that everybody agreed. This is what everybody could get on with.
Yeah, but nobody
I don't think it was ever
branching
choice.
storyline.
I don't think it was ever choice. To me, it was story. It was interaction. To me, it was relationships conveyed in those stories, not the choice. Because very quickly you realize the choice wasn't really there. You were going to come to one conclusion, right? Very quickly you realize.
The choice is more about the weight of the choice.
Right.
These were deep, hard questions you had to answer. It's the same thing in Witcher 3. And the issue and the thing is, storytelling in that aspect, where the flag was with Walking Dead season 1 has already moved on.
No, agreed. But,
Right.
But all I'm saying is the fairer comparison would be like Life is Strange.
Yeah.
The fairer comparison would be like Detroit Becomes Human, like where they've advanced this, where they're branching. Yeah, it's like Detroit is like the next level of it. You know what I mean? Like it's
what was the other game
branching.
for Sony? No. Heavy Rain.
Oh,
yeah, those are the
David Cage games, all the David Cage games.
Yeah.
But I would agree with Enka in that he is right that the mantle was lost. You know what I'm saying? Because after a while, if you still have that same engine and you're still not improving upon it, and like he said, the key point, like he said, they just now was thinking about going to Unity.
It's like they won Dance of the Year and they just kept trying to do the same dance.
The reason why I brought this up is that the reason why I brought it up was because Microsoft coming in to save Telltale, it's not worth it.
Yeah,
like everyone else is doing the same thing and better.
They're done.
I know.
I mean,
exactly.
you can go poach the people. Yeah, give the people a job. You know, that's
right.
Yeah, like if they were to like go in, poach everybody, and then come back in and say, oh yeah, we're gonna do the same. We're basically gonna make a I don't know, short story studio. Like we're gonna basically just a name change.
TF God coming for your neck. You said, tell this man to stop. My girlfriend ain't playing The Witcher 3, but she playing that Walking Dead. He said,
she's not playing. She's playing
that would be good.
Comparable apples and oranges.
Right. You know, that would be good if let's say a studio, and I'm not going to say just Microsoft, because we got to stop looking for big bank to buy a little bank. Always. You understand?
Bethesda needs to stay up.
But we can't use Bethesda because all they're going to do is turn them into Wolfenstein clones. But what I would like to say is, you know, other studios purchase them because Sony has a great pedigree as well. Maybe Nintendo needs to diversify their portfolio and get these guys. But to put it in like a Game Pass type of thing, they could do a Halo Telltale's type of game. They can do all types of games like Gears of War type of game that way. Sony can do an Uncharted game that type of way to cater to the people that, like Lord Cognito said, that don't play video games but can play that type of game. And I understand that because I need those easy achievements too. I want those easy platinum trophies too.
I'm not even talking about it from like a delivery standpoint, like Game Pass, like as a delivery thing. For me, it's like, well, if you do something episodically, right, you're spending less money on it overall, right? Trying to create an entire season of something, and then you see if it sticks. In Game Pass, you have a $10 subscription that's being paid monthly, and you don't have to worry about that influx of money constantly coming in. It's there, right? So you can take that risk on one season of something and see how it goes.
Yo, shout out to the chat. He said, shout out to Other Zinc in the chat. He said these Telltale games are garbage. Even so, he said, well, enough about Microsoft. Why don't Sony come in and buy and save a damn studio?
That's not happening. They just barely saved themselves right now. So
he said, I would never want Telltale to do a Halo game. Yo, the chat is lit right now. The last thing, TF Guard still going in. Yo, the chat is lit right now. It's very, very conflicted on what should happen. But unfortunately, like I said,
they're dead. There's nothing what they should do.
The only thing at this point would be the actual talent that is job could be poached. You know what I'm saying? And especially, I would say on Microsoft's side, because we know the single player game experiences, solves love. It's not really their strength this gen. So maybe they can get that talent, put them towards those studios. Right.
Single player experience is only on Sony.
You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Boss Moves, what up? Shout out to Sin, what's up?
The second definitive single player experience is only on Sony. Second one is God of War, but that first one is Spider-Man. Shout out to Addict.
Let me get this straight. Did Addict actually think that Spider-Man wasn't gonna sell as well as God of War?
Yeah, no, I mean, but in his defense, listen, in his defense, hey,
there is no defense for
oh
that.
my god, in his defense, God of War was such a phenomenon that
he was a prisoner of the moment.
But it's not
everybody. I
Spider-Man.
even caught myself like,
but it's not Spider-Man though.
True, and then as I thought more about it, and all I thought about is like, us, most of us here are all MCU fans, so it's like we're like, the MCU is on fire right now. Then they're dropping a great Spider-Man game, and I'm thinking about the promotion and then Sony and the marketing. And I'm sitting there, we had a lot of people on with this. Shout out to B Money, we was on Brap, and we had this conversation, and Eric Jackson as well. And as I talk more about it, I was like, yes, Spidey's coming. But to Addict's defense,
Boss Move, what's up, baby? Boss Move. He said he ducking that bending the knee.
Boss Move said he's ducking the fade. He not trying.
He said he out here dipping in Dodgers.
Why they going into my man's today? He had a serious situation.
He had a serious situation, man.
If this Spider-Man it came out now, if it had been a third-party game by some B-tier developer, some movie tie-in, I would have been like, no,
like
Activision gonna destroy it. It's gonna destroy it. And the moment they said Insomniac first-party Sony, I'm like, oh god, it's gonna kill. It just is what it is. It has.
You know what it was, Sovereign. The moment that I got to E3 and I saw the game look exactly like, because I said when they showed it, I was like, oh, that's a lie. That's Sony, but they lied. And then I saw the game. I said, oh, no. Oh, no. Then I played it. And I said, oh, God of War's in the bushes. Like, as soon as I touched it, I said, oh, God of War is in the bushes. When I stood down on the floor, and I saw it was like 50 people in the crowd with cars moving and the HDR and the lighting, and I'm like, they're doing this? Like, is this I looked to see if they was running it off a PC. No, brother, it's a PlayStation.
Like, James is the light coming for you, son. Okay, you said Marvel went to Sony. They tossed the idea of going to Microsoft with Spider-Man in the bush.
They probably did. I don't care what he coming for. I got it. So you can go for yourself.
I'm telling you that whole deal about getting Spider-Man exclusive, that was because of the whole Civil War to get Spider-Man in the MCU.
Yeah.
I don't care why they did it.
Listen,
I don't care why they did it. Thank God they
phenomenal.
did it.
I know we got off track with that, but salute to, like I said, to all the Telltale guys. Hope these guys are on their feet.
Hopefully, if they were good at their job, they're gonna get another job.
From what I heard like Sony Santa Monica's picking people up. I heard people like job offers are going out. So hopefully these people find homes soon.
Yeah, man, we definitely want them. What's the best? Because like I said,
Undead Labs, get to Undead Labs. That's a good lab.
Man, I'll take it in a minute, man. At the end of the day, good people lost their jobs. We want this town to get back out there in the industry and keep them popping. Who
the hell is eating
chips? Crazy angry man with the chips.
Like, yo, we don't do that here. We don't do that. We don't do that here. We don't be. We don't do that here. What do you?
He said, "Oh." And on that note, we'll be moving on to the next time. Lord King, what is going on? Classic Streets with Sony. What's going on, man?
Oh, guess who's in the building? Sony with the fraudery. They saw Nintendo making that bread. They said, yo, we don't care about back compat, but we care about that bread though. They said, yo, what can we do? We could get a Raspberry Pi and shrink it down and make it look like a PlayStation. He said, yeah, we could give them real live PlayStation controllers. Just shrink them a little bit. He said, how about we ship it out with no power cord? That'll work.
So let's get to the meat of what was announced. So basically, it's the Sony PlayStation Classic, correct? Is their version of the mini, so to speak?
Yes, it's their overpriced version for old games. Yo, they have the nerve to say $100. Like, at least Nintendo tried to finesse you for that 69. Nintendo said it's not 70, it's right under there. You know, it's an impulse buy. Sony said we're going for the gusto because we feel that our jumping jack flash is better. So we're gonna sell it for $100. And they said 20 games to be determined. But I'm trying to figure out, like, is this their version of back compat? Are they gonna start releasing a version 2, version 3 with 20 different other games? Are they going for the cash grab? What's up?
Yeah, let me jump in because obviously the announcement we heard, the classic, and then they had a lot of those games, a lot of retro, a lot of good games, and of course right now I believe the Sony, like, they have 20 right now, they're going to be available. And the only thing that surprised me, and I want to bring this to Soft too, is that they've made the announcement that just like Nintendo with the NES Classic having 30 games and the Sony having just 20, that they're not planning to add any more games. Like, that's it. It's a one and done. Here's your 20. And I wanted to bring that back to you guys, especially King, because I know you are the vintage guy. You are the guy that goes out, buys these systems. I think that's where I struggle. See, this is where I struggle. Yeah, like I'm cool with all the back compat and all stuff, but I struggle with this because it's like, then it's just a timepiece for these games. You know what I mean? Even with NES, I don't want to attack like this is just Sony. Like, this NES Classic is the same way. Like, you don't feel a way that they're not gonna support this thing you buy. It's just these 20 and that's it. You're locked in forever.
Well, I will let Starvin and Anchor hit that because pause. But the only reason why I'm gonna let them go first and attack it is because, again, I'm biased, right? Like Lord Cognito said, this idiot might run out and get it. All right, and because I did not help with those numbers with those Nintendos, I got both of them. All right, that came out, so I did not help, and I brought them for my kids. So when I purchased it, I purchased 4. You understand? So,
you go. All right, you're right. You're probably got the most. Yeah. All right, so let's go to Saul. But I'm curious about Saul though. Like, Saul, did you buy like the NES Classic moment?
I bought the SNES Classic for my niece and nephew.
Okay, cool.
I don't own any of them myself.
You yourself did not buy any for your personal self.
No,
like
neither one. No.
Okay. Now, when you hear about now the PlayStation Classic and it's got the too many controllers, the whole joint, Tekken 3, all the jumping, like does that excite you? Like, how do you feel about this?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't excite me. Like, in theory, I'm not bothered by it because I get it. It's a cash grab, just like those were, right? And playing on nostalgia. The thing about it, what bothers me is the blatant ripoff of Nintendo. That's just crazy. Like, you couldn't figure out anything else to do. That's one thing that bothers me, right? Like, you couldn't figure out anything else to do, and I realize if you look at Sony, like, after Spider-Man, they don't have any exclusives. Like, this is their exclusive for the rest of the year. After
that's
Spider-Man,
right. That's right.
Else, right. So it makes sense to try to sell something, right? But to me, if this is going to be one of those one and done things, and obviously people will hack it and you'll be able to get more games on there because they've done it with both Nintendo systems. Right. And assuming that the innards are anything remotely similar, somebody will hack it. But the fact that it doesn't make any sense not to allow more of this stuff on there, because then you're saying, okay, what are you planning to do with the rest of your library at some point? Are you going to give me? Like, are you going to give me what you think? What I think you should give me, which is like a classic bundle of games on your PS4 that that you can enjoy the games there. Why you have to give me a piece of hardware that I have to purchase, and then and then
let me
the thing about these games real quick. Last thing,
go ahead.
These games don't hold up as well as 16-bit games. They just don't. Like, I don't want to look at old ugly polygons of Final Fantasy 7. Like, I don't want that.
But wait a minute, I gotta call fraud, so because they give you crap for the Switch games when you do it. When you buy
but like I said, those games, like, I'd much rather play Final Fight, beautiful big sprites than all that ugly polygons.
That's you though. Somebody might want to play that Final Fantasy in a purest form.
It's a subjective thing, but I don't think PS1 games hold up nearly as well as 16-bit games.
All right, let me just give this one point out.
From an art standpoint.
In this one point, I will give out to Neo Geo Gold system the biggest props, because that system came out. It's a portable system that you can also play in the house. All right, so the same exact thing that you got right there is the same exact thing that you play in the house. But also the games that come on the system is retro games, but you can also get booster games packs to put in to add to additional to those games. So you start off with the initial 30, and then you get another booster pack with another 40 or 30 games on it. And yeah, of course you pay for it, but there's no option in doing so with these standalones, mini bus-off systems.
Right.
So
right. Let me get the chat is lit. Let me give it to Angry Man. Shout out, TF God is on fire. He says Sony fans be like 500 plus games from 2 previous generations for no charge with backward compatibility on Xbox is garbage. But he said we don't want that. But $100 for 20 PS1 games, where am I signing? Boss Move. He said the PlayStation Classic power cable is probably milli rocking for 20. Yo, there's no way.
But Nintendo did the same thing. Nintendo did the same thing with the new Nintendo 3DS. Yeah.
So school me, because I've never bought
the
classic. Yeah. So these systems.
No, the classics had them, but the new Nintendo 3DS, 2 versions of it didn't have AC power cords. They just had old ones.
You had to go buy that.
All right, so let's get Ink in there. Egg's been quiet. What do you feel about one classic systems and then obviously the announcement of the PlayStation Classic?
Man, you did the throw away money about trash. Man, I can't believe that. This is one of those things where I was like, okay, I looked at when Nintendo did it.
Right.
I was like, you know what? Okay, fine. The people have that nostalgia. If they want to throw away their money, that's up to them. That's totally fine. And I think with Nintendo, they never said, "Oh, old games are bad. We don't care about old games," because they have a very rich history of supporting their old titles, making sure those old titles come out. Making sure you get this work. They always make sure you can play those old games. They may charge you $60 to play that old game again, but they're going to make sure you get a chance to play that old game. The thing I run into where I have a problem is that Sony is really damn cocky. This is some next level stuff. Like this is basically them saying, "Hey, we're going to tell
Spider-Man
you don't want backwards." They're gonna tell you
his Spidey sense is tingling.
They're gonna tell you we don't want you to play backwards.
Addicts in here.
Spidey's sense was tingling.
I just need to sneak in the back door. Yo, I had to defend your honor. Sorry, I got to cut you for a second. Addict, man, what's going on? How you doing, buddy? I had to defend your honor in here. They was coming. They said you was ducking the fade.
No, I ain't ducking that stuff. I don't care.
I don't care.
My man is back, man. That's right.
He sound heavily medicated. What happened?
Man, glad you can make it, man. Everything okay?
You're right. Everything's good. Everything was all in jokes, so don't take it.
Everything is funny. Good. Okay, cool, man. Continue, Angry Man. Then we'll get addicted on this topic. Too.
And I'm just saying, ultimately, what I see it as is that Nintendo never insulted people about playing old games, but Sony actually did say this. They're like, backwards compatibility. Nobody wants to play backwards compatibility.
Hold that thought for the next topic. Please hold that. I got you. Okay, I got you. Because we're gonna tie this all in, and my topic is coming up next. Is really gonna flow into the PlayStation thing with backward compatibility. So just save that particular thought because I know where you're going.
Yeah. You're yelling out, bend the knee, bend the
knee. But my specific question to you with classic systems and retro systems, like I know you as the GameCube dude. You're that guy, right? So let's just say
they coming with it.
No, they most likely coming. But let's just say they announce it. And, the same deal, no problem. But let's say those 20, those 30 games are like the Anchorman classics of all time. And you too, Addict, because I know you guys, you're GameCube guys. That's your gen.
He knows we're talking about Super Mario Sunshine, Luigi Mansion. We're talking about all those stuff. Pikmin.
Those are your titles.
Yep. I don't think they do those games, though.
Probably not licensing.
That's the thing about when it comes to this one.
And he has had that.
I don't know about this PlayStation Mini. What games they're gonna put in there? Like if they came out there and they put real classics in there, like Crash Team Racing, original Crash Bandicoot.
Let's just say they
Spyro.
Yes.
If they do that as a solid package, I'd be like, yeah, fine. That's
$100.
then
10 games less than the $69.
You're not getting
like
those two
P.T.
games
Barnum
in
said,
particular,
a fool
you're
and
not
his
getting
money are easily parted. Like, go right ahead. I'm not buying it.
Oh,
but
you wouldn't buy it?
I wouldn't buy it for $100.
But let's just say
$100 is a lot, though.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Those games, I'll go get a PC before I go do that.
No, let's get addictive, man, because obviously what you call it, with the classic system. Then I got to ask this question on the Telltale because he did miss that. That was his topic. So let's start with this topic with the PlayStation Classic announced 20 games. It's kind of locked in to those 20, and just your feeling about that first.
You talking about the PlayStation Classic?
First. Let's get that out the way first.
I personally think these classics are becoming an issue.
Not feeling it.
I feel like these companies rather sell you 20 games for $100 than 20 games for like $10 each.
Yeah.
And what do you feel? Are you on my side of the fence where it's like there's no more? They tell you that after that 20, there's no more being added to that mini console. Like, are you on that same side of the fence with me with that?
Yeah, well, I don't really care too much on that portion because for the most part, it would be nice, but I think it would be more hard. They don't want this to be a long-term thing. They want this to be a one and done so they can sell you Classic 2.0 next year for another 20
what I'm
games.
talking about. That's what he just said right there. They have 500 and some odd games, and I think they're gonna go for the whole Monty on this. The full Monty on this.
So, though? That's
yes,
savage.
man. I think every year they're gonna release a new 2.0, 3.0 with 20 games.
I could see them doing an RPG one where it comes with Final Fantasy ones.
So we're gonna have like 4 Nintendo minis with different games.
Yeah, because it's still gonna be.
I
the
don't
same
think
hardware,
Nintendo
right?
though. I don't think Nintendo. I think Sony would do that. I think Nintendo goes up with different hardware. Like the next one is gonna be the N64 joint, right?
Right.
And then after that, you will get the GameCube joint. And then maybe they might go back and do it from the beginning.
Yeah. I think Nintendo realized which is weird, they realize how bad something looks that you release a 2.0 version with 20 different games or 30 different games the following year. And it's the same hardware. Like, I don't get that. Like, what they're doing is now they're giving you this online thing with the NES games, and they're going to put other stuff that maybe they would have put on a Classic 2.0. They're going to put it on that service.
Right.
And still get you to pay for it. Like,
real quick for Adam, because he missed his topic, the first one. The Telltale closure, we kind of hit it in the head. Anchorman's side was kind of like he saw it coming. He's not.
And he yelled out good for them.
Actually, you were in the party chat. It was me, you, Ank. We all in the party chat together on Xbox Live before this offline. And he's on the side of the fence that, hey, they didn't adapt. The engine was old, and they kind of just mismanagement, and pretty much that he's not surprised.
He said good for them. He said good for them.
No, I don't even think it was that, because if you look, a lot of their games are highly, a lot of their games gets a lot of praise. But at the end of the day, when you have a complete game that's driven by narrative focus, if they don't buy that in the first week, the game's probably ruined for a lot of people, so they're not buying it now.
Right.
And let's be real here, Twitch kills these kind of games too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. That's what I've been saying.
It's a good stream game where you can stream it for your audience, so that hurts a lot of sales. There's a lot of factors that goes into this. I've said from the start that I put a tweet out that was like, this shows that driven focused games, like, and people are like, no, that's not true. And what's funny is I put Sony in the title. I said, unless Sony makes these kind of games, or Bethesda or CD Projekt Red, driven focused single player games they're not dying, but it's a hard.
It's a hard market to penetrate without the big budget marketing, like I said, with the Sony and stuff like that, with the these type of games, God of War and the Spider-Man. And let's be clear, also, it's not just about making them. These games got to be good. These games got to be. They can't be average. You know what I'm saying? Like, they have to be good to buck the trend.
But are you comparing them to RPGs though, or are you talking about?
I'm saying single player driven games in general. This is, when it comes to this, like, look at this game. These games are $25. They for $25, you couldn't get a better single player driven story focus, and they still flopped.
Right.
And I think, me and Lord Cognito brought up a good point. I think the biggest key point to why this company failed is because they oversaturated their own market and they're competing with each other.
That's a good point.
Yeah, they cannibalize their own market.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
Sooner or later, when you're launching this week, this comes out, 2 weeks, this comes out. People are tired of that gameplay, so they stayed away from it entirely.
And then the last question on it is because of what you said. Because
hold on, let me go at Jay Fonz. I'm so Jay Fonz, let's get smoked. I'm so look, I said single player story, I said Sony. That's what kills me. When I say single player driven games, people want to bring up Spider-Man. People want to bring up God of War. People want to bring up these.
Well, because Spider-Man is the premier game in this generation.
At the end of the day, it's like I said, unless you're not that. Oh my God.
Go ahead, get it. That's why this is your topic.
So
people want
to keep bringing this up. Why don't we bring up The Evil Within 2, Dishonored, Wolfenstein? These games do well, but they don't do it completely fantastic like these games. When did you see Wolfenstein sold 3 million in 2 days? You didn't see that, did you? What about Dishonored?
Spider-Man did you?
You didn't see none of that. People want to keep bringing up the same 6 games, acting like 50 don't flop every year.
That's right. So your one breakthrough game.
Your point is your stance is that those are the anomaly as opposed to the norm, right? Your point is that not all of these single player games are dead, but that not all of these single player games break through in the
when it comes to this particular genre, you have to bring smoke or you don't bring nothing at all.
Okay.
Because you got Sony over there hitting,
home runs.
Hitting home runs. Bethesda's a hit and miss, and then you got CD Projekt Red hitting home runs. If you do not bring that kind of quality, your game isn't going to flop. You'll probably make profit a little bit, but a lot of these people spend just about what it costs for the actual project on marketing itself.
Okay. So I feel where you're coming from.
And not just that, he's actually very right about that, especially with Bethesda, is that it is a hit and miss problem. Right. Every single time it has to be a game that not only is good, because there's a lot of good Bethesda games that come out that don't sell very well.
Yeah. But how did Wolfenstein do? Because I remember Wolfenstein dropped around.
It did not do that great.
Right, because and that's a phenomenal game.
Wolfenstein 1 sold just under 2 million copies, which is fine for Wolfenstein 1.
Let's get them likes up, y'all. We're talking some good talking here.
I thought Dishonored 2 did good, and it didn't do good. I thought it was a good game.
The games they're putting out are good games. That's the thing that doesn't make any sense. They're great games. It's just they have to work about their marketing, and even with the marketing problem, the issue also comes up. It has to be a franchise people know. Hold on.
Dave Fonz is coming to y'all. He said, Addict, you're wrong. Sony games are just well made. That's where Telltale games failed. They were really basic with decent stories that people like to hear and watch. That's why they were big on Twitch. He says, slow-mo. Telltale is out of business because they were mismanaged, not some bigger narrative on single-player games. So people are still defending the fact that, well, I say defending, but they're still trying to say that this is more of a Telltale mismanagement issue. And the shout out to Potentially Perfect. Potentially Perfect agrees with you. He said the more you spend on marketing, the less you stand to making profit. The chat is split. The chat does, I think more agree with you than they disagree with you. But it is a contentious point as far as the Telltale situation and single player games as a whole.
At the end of the day, it's like I said, if you compare, I'm sure if you went, we don't know the true numbers of these games. We just don't. Right. But if you've got their numbers, like Bethesda, the king of I'm making single player games, I don't care. I'm continuing on this. They're making an online multiplayer game this year. And they were all about that single player ain't dying. Well, guess what? They're not moving away from it.
That's what you said.
They're not moving. See, and what's funny is it's not Devil May Cry 4 single player. They're putting microtransactions in. Why? Because the sales of the game aren't going to be that great, and they know it.
Shout out to Sam Tobin. He's agreeing. He said the Order 1886 was made incredibly well, single player game, and sold like garbage. So this is an interesting topic, man. We got to revisit this.
The issue is it has
don't say
to
that
be.
Danker man in here. Oh Lord,
It has to be a game people know. It has to be a game that has wide appeal. Like it is like the reason why God
Nigga,
of War
that game
is
had no
God of
appeal.
War.
Right.
Because
And you know,
that was probably what into.
as much as I hate to say this, and you know, people like, because I know the reason I don't want to say this because people are going to come at me, like,
Don't be afraid. Go for it.
You got Telltale.
Do
Telltale
what
makes
Spidey
really
do.
good
What would
cinematic.
Spidey
You know
do?
those Q&E games, where, and then you got like the one on Sony does the same thing on steroids. I mean, look at Spider-Man, Uncharted, God of War. They're all cinematically driven. This is the reason that they make these games so well, is because they own a movie studio. They know how to set these set pieces. They know what appeals to people because they sell movies for a living. So
yeah, they coming for you, Hank. They said the orders in the bushes. They said the orders. It's garbage. Yo, they
like, when it comes to single player driven games, as much as people don't like it, sometimes if you want to make really good ones, you have to take the controller away from them for a minute. Like, you have to get them emotionally driven into the characters. You have to, because some of these set pieces that Sony does, you can't do that with you know, your typical single player game. Like, you know, a lot of people like to make fun of their exclusives for that, but it works out for them.
Yeah, dude.
Fair enough, man. This was good. I had to get you in on that topic.
Yeah.
That was a hot one, man. We're gonna move on. There's a lot in this going on, man.
Let's get to your joint.
Yes, man. So it's like we got some more news, you know what I'm saying, on the Sony side, and there was definitely another announcement made.
Sony show.
Exactly. I know we get complaint that we don't get enough Sony topics, and here we go. So yeah, PlayStation Now, you know what I'm saying, that has debuted a new server. I mean, actually a new service, an existing service. They've expanded upon it, and now it looks like not only can you download, before it was initially just streaming, but now you can download those classic games, those PlayStation 2 games, to your console. So you got that going on, and some select PlayStation 4 games. Part of them is Bloodborne, God of War 3 Remastered, NBA 2K16. Damn, 16. Right? Play 16. Wait. Okay, Until Dawn. Until Dawn's good.
NBA 2K16.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, I just read that.
You can download that.
I don't know why I would do that, but okay. But at least they got that. They got the classic lineup. And remember, one of the biggest problems that we had with PlayStation Now was the streaming aspect in comparison to like a Xbox backward compatibility. So now that this has been announced, now here's some caveats. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, you know, right now they're saying that when you do that, and this I think King will find very interesting. Note that you need to connect your PS4 system to the internet every few days to verify your PS Now subscription, even if you're only playing downloaded games. So I know that's a point of contention because obviously, King, this was kind of what Microsoft had announced at their infamous deal, you know, yada yada yada, you know, and then okay, so pretty much how it will, they all PS Now games will support DLC, microtransactions, and add-ons. They said, as well as PS4 Pro and enhancements for subscribers using the PS4 Pro system. And then, okay, if you already started streaming a game and locally on your PS4, transfer your save from the PS Now cloud to your console with a PS Plus membership that is sold separately. So that part is separate. You need that part for PS Plus. And, you know, so pretty much that's pretty much the feature right now. So I want to bring this to the Lords, and I want to attack it from a different way. So we know about the service, right? We also know that in the past, Sony has made statements, and Anchorman had brought this up earlier, you know what I'm saying, which have not been in favor of backward compatibility. When backward compatibility was announced by Microsoft, salute to the back compat team, Lord Bill Stillwell, those guys, the emulation that they got to do is wizardry. Those guys are sorcerers as far as I'm concerned. But, you know, when that announcement was made, that was a big kind of cool for Microsoft at that time. Our good friend to the realm, Jim Ryan, he had some things to say. And yeah, he pretty much said that you know, he didn't see what the big deal was about it. You know, why would anyone play these backward compatible games? You know, it's one of those things, you do it for a while, but when you look at it, you know, you don't go back. And then here we are. So let's bring this to the table. Addict's in the building, Anchor's in the building. Let's start with Anchor, because he had actually continued this time. What do you feel about, first, the service? Let's start with the service first. Is it a good service? Do you like the service? And then obviously Sony's previous stance on backward compatibility.
All right. So first off, at least with the terms of the service, I can't use it. At least in the current status of the way it's set up with the streaming. So I've never actually bothered. I've seen other people use it though.
Right.
I find it funny that a thing that can max out in terms of streaming only up to 720p is being played on the system that people touted as 1080p or nothing. But I still find that funny.
Mm-hmm.
The thing with backwards compatibility, it's so weird to me because every generation somebody takes the backwards compatibility flag and someone's like, okay, we're going to support this no matter what. Normally it's Nintendo, but normally somebody else gets involved too. And last generation it was Sony. Sony took up the backwards compatibility mantle. They said, all right, we're going to do that. They kind of gave up about halfway through and said like, oh yeah, the new versions of the PlayStation 3 aren't going to have the PS2 backwards compatibility. It's like, all right, people move on. Now this generation, it's Microsoft. And it's so weird because this generation, everyone else is eventually picking up on backwards compatibility, but they are making you pay through the nose to get it.
Right. So
Nintendo, they're charging you $60 for games that came out last generation to play them again. Developers a number of the publishers have repeatedly put out ports with very minimal work. Like Activision and Ultimate Alliance.
Well, Lord Stavrin loves stuff like that. He loves just a straight same old.
Yeah,
it just
they better than jelly sandwich. Just give me that same one I used to get when I was
remaster thing, which again I've been on record at least 100 times saying I'm not a big fan of the whole remaster thing because that's another way to milk people, and this has been a thing this generation in particular. So we're paying again to get games all over again. Microsoft has said, okay, backwards compatibility. If you own the game physically, you can play it.
Right.
You own it digitally, you can play it. It's not a problem, and they're not making you pay through the nose to get it, which I'm very happy with. Which is very weird for Microsoft because Microsoft's normally about making you pay that extra money.
Well, this is what happens when you're losing. This is what you do when you lose.
Exactly. The competition brings out the best. That is true.
And Nintendo's doing the same thing, except they're making you pay for it with all these re-releases. But then Sony, who has actively gone on record by saying, no, backwards compatibility is a feature nobody really wants. Like, yeah, some people are talking about it, but nobody really cares. But then they go and say, oh, here's PlayStation Now for $20 a month. Go play your old games here. And not just that, but now they're allowing you to download them, which is great. Like any service allows you to download the games rather than have to stream it. It's great. I'm totally fine with that. It's still expensive.
Then they pull what they were criticizing Microsoft for. You got to have your system on, but this is always online. And then, wait a second. Then
exactly. We have come full circle.
We've come full circle.
They're giving you certain games to download, like games that came out 5 years ago. You can download that. You can put that up in there. And those are sports games, mind you, which absolutely makes zero sense in this world to me. But the streaming system, it looks like half fraudery. Like, okay, the hypocrisy from Sony is allowing you to see the hubris on these dudes. Like, they are saying, all right, along with the little mini, we're going to dip our hands in that. We're going to dip our hands in that because that's successful over there. We're going to take that Game Pass thing and we're going to switch it. We're going to put our little fingers on it and we ain't going to give you the whole thing. We're just going to give you half Sony way and charge you full pay for that. Make sure that you have a subscription to us because if you don't, you're not able to do that. But then they say we're not putting anything behind any paywalls. There they go again. Well, here we go again.
What about the pricing? From my understanding, the pricing is a little different, right? Because we still have
$20 a month opposed to $10 a month and 100 games and download the first party game.
100.
Right. It actually works out cheaper if you buy it for the, like I said, for the year, a full year for 100. They said if you buy
that is only a limited time special. That is not the regular price.
Correct.
But I get it's only limited, but it's still an option for people.
Like, for right now,
if they do it even once a year, you could still get it for the year.
Yeah, so you can do the $10 a month, or you can do the 3 month for the 30. You know what I'm saying?
So if we're going to use that logic, then Xbox Live is not $60 a year. It's $30 a year.
Well, I'm saying
they do,
I'm saying that smart consumers that knows this is going to wait for that. That's not the
people. You can't assume that regular people are smart.
What I'm saying, it's still an option. Like it is. Like if you buy it 1 year, like you know how many times I wait for Amazon every year to drop Xbox Live to 40? Like that's not going to be with everyone, but there's still a large amount of people that do it.
So
Like,
you will go without Live for a couple of months until that sale pop up. This is what you're trying to tell me?
2 years. When it drops to 40, I pick up a year.
Alec, let's get you in on this because I need you on as far as the whole PS Now, the streaming service now able to download to the games. Does how do you feel about that aspect too?
It's good. I'm hoping because they're getting this at the end of the generation. I don't think they would do this, but do you think they would try to lock all like PS4 games and PS2 games behind a paywall for PS5?
No, I think what they're doing is preparing you for PS5, like King has been saying all along, PS5 not having any of this. And this is going to be their legacy back, quote unquote, back compat service. Because if you look at what
they do that, I think that's a mistake.
I think so too, but I think this is what they're preparing you for.
I think they don't care.
What y'all think?
I don't think this would be that. That's cockiness right there. You could still play PS4 games. You could play PS4 games, but we need this $19.99 a month.
And then look at this. If you look at this, right, at the downloadable stuff that's on PS now, right?
Right.
Let's be clear. That's not really true back compat. The only things that you can download are games that run natively on a PS4. They're PS4 games and then PS2 games that have been remastered for PS4.
Okay.
There are no native just PS2 games that you could just download and play on your PS4 as a service, as what Xbox does with emulation. Same thing, which is weird also because if you look at like the Vita they emulated PS1 games on there. Right. You don't see any of those on these.
Let me defend Sony for a second. Which is going to be interesting. My question to you guys is, what about the argument? Because obviously we know when this was announced, the Lords of Petty at Microsoft, they jumped on Xbox Twitter account and they quickly made an announcement about backward compatibility.
You know how it is. They answer everything. Yeah.
Team Petty at marketing. Now I respect the gangster. So, basically they said, that, you can have all these games. And the key word that broke the internet was free on Xbox. And I shout out to a lot of people onto it. I saw this narrative going back, and the Sony guys were like, hey, that's not true. Those games are not free. You have to have bought those. If you own those games already, they're free. But you have to buy those games. So why are you kind of like coming at us?
What they actually meant was what you're doing is you don't have to pay any extra fee to play those games again.
Right, which is the wording, which is the verb.
Put that up there. But somebody in the chat put, who's that?
What's up?
Phase 23.
Yeah, what's up?
Brooklyn.
BK?
All right, yeah. So he put up PlayStation Now is $100 a year and Game Pass is $120.
No, don't take that down.
No. Anchor. Let him rock with that. Rock with that. I want you to Millie rock with that all the way through. But I want to ask you this one question, sir. What PlayStation is Spider-Man launched in there? Was God of War launched in there? Because every last one of Microsoft exclusive games, and you can say they don't have it, but you don't get it. All right. So the difference is that Microsoft doesn't have exclusive games, which is a lie, and those games are launching in Game Pass for free if you have Game Pass. Sony says PlayStation Now, and they're not giving you Spider-Man now. No, what you need to do is go buy Spider-Man, and you can play that later on PlayStation Now if it ever comes out.
That PS Now is going to be what we call a legacy service. That's what it's going to be. It's not going to be.
I'm going to tell you guys this.
Forefront. It's not at all.
Here's the thing. I remember reading this article because I remember because this was right before I switched colleges. This is back in 2013. Where this was right at the beginning of, I think this was about like September, October-ish. It was right before the thing came out. There was an interview that was done with Yoshida. And they were talking about the future of PlayStation.
Okay.
Yoshida explicitly states that the future of PlayStation will not be limited to console hardware.
Oh, yeah.
They said we're looking at making an app where you can play your PlayStation games on any system, on any platform. We're looking at that. That is a possibility for our future. And this is it. This is what the future is. I'm telling you right now what they are going to do.
Right now.
What you talk about? What you think they're
like
going
what they're going to do is they're going to come out, and the PlayStation 5 is going to come out. Yeah, you got all the new PlayStation 5 games, but you're going to have the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3, 2, 1. All those games are going to be available on PlayStation Now. And eventually, at some point, we're going to get past the point for need for hardware, where streaming is that powerful. There may not even be a box anymore. This is how things are going to go. And
that's kind of crazy because Microsoft just announced a system that's going to be doing that.
I'm not surprised.
This is par for the course for Sony. Like, I mean, I gotta give it to them, but when it comes to stuff like this, they're not the ones. They're not the ones who come out first with this stuff. They're the ones who watch the temperature of the room and then dip the toe in, and then they do it. Like, they haven't really. When's the last time they really
wait and see?
Innovated?
They wait and see is the best.
Like, the last thing they really tried to innovate was what? Like
Sony holds the door and lets you go through first to see if you get smashed in the face.
They know difference. They jumped out with VR first, or they didn't
really innovate in that. They took
they didn't jump in VR first.
Don't say they cut that out, man.
They took the chance in the console space.
Okay.
They were the first and only
with the worst. They were the first with the worst.
But they did it, and Microsoft did not.
Nah, Microsoft said no.
When you look at Microsoft and Sony and Nintendo, when it comes to their thing, when it comes to Sony, they are the copycat group. Like they are. Anything that comes down walking on the street that looks slightly new, they're jumping on board. Then they're forgetting it when it turns the corner.
No hate, but it's the truth. I mean, Microsoft and Nintendo have been the ones to innovate.
When the Wii came out, motion controls were new to people. It's like, oh, this is interesting. This is new.
All right,
everyone's feeling this.
I gotta
PlayStation
my Sony cape. Let me get my Sony cape right quick. All right.
Don't put that cape on. You might get it set on fire.
Let me put my Sony fraud cape on there.
Yeah, there it is.
So here we go. I'm a fraud. Here's the thing. Well, what about like let's be real. At the start of this generation, right? They had the PlayStation, their version of Games with Gold, which is PlayStation Plus. They were smacking Microsoft. Microsoft had to actually adopt Games with Gold because they didn't have anything really in that space to compete. Then let's be real. At the start of the generation was a lot of remasters and stuff like Anchor was saying, but they had the indies on Smash. Guess who followed up with ID at Xbox? Let's keep it.
No, you can't say. No, you got to remember the reason why. No, you remember the reason why PlayStation Plus existed.
Break it down.
It was because when Microsoft came with Xbox Live, they were charging for online.
Absolutely.
Because Sony said, we want some of that subscription money, but we already have our online service for free. We got to have something to justify it.
Absolutely. And what I will give Microsoft credit in this respect is that obviously with the PlayStation 4,
you got your cape on. Don't say that. I'm trying to figure out what you ain't gonna triple change on us. You gonna
triple change? I own them all, baby. I got multiple capes.
I got the kryptonite ring. I'm about to take you down. I'm just waiting for you to finish your point.
And like Attica was saying, like when they first started off, with the PlayStation 4 generation, we felt like finally those party chat services, those online services that 360 had already pioneered, has finally gotten to that system and kind of got them up to snuff on that. But I hear what you're saying. King, I need you on this as far as the whole back compat and is it overrated? Because
it's not overrated. Let me stop. When you can take your disc and this blows my mind with my Xbox every time. Right. When you can take your disc and you can put it in and it runs better than it did when you initially purchased that game. And see, this is that PlayStation Now is crap because you're playing it at subpar levels. All right. So
but now you can download. Okay.
All right, you download
not PS3 games.
This is this is the thing.
It's like if you bought the game digitally on on the PlayStation Network. It's the same thing.
Yeah, it's not. They're not giving you any bonus. This is a fraud. This is a finesse.
I think
if you want to know how to be finesse, this is a finesse in progress. All right. So I want you to see how the finesse works. They're allowing you to think that you're getting something that you're really not getting. All right. If you was to purchase that disc and you was to put that disc inside that system, it will run the same exact way. On the PlayStation Now system, you're gonna have latency, you're gonna have subpar resolution, and you may have hiccups that go on because of your internet connection, right? On the Xbox, you will put that game in, it will run better, it will look better, and again, you're not going to have internet connections because the game is running natively off the system and it's upscaling, it's boosting it. All right, so totally different ways in how you're looking at it. The PlayStation
you got a good point, though.
It's a finesse. All right, they telling you that. It's not for the price that they're giving. If they said it was like Nintendo joint, $5, yes, I'm in it. But when you start doing the high price range because you're milking the people and you're not really giving them back what is worth, because it's not worth, because you still need PlayStation Plus. So you got to add the PlayStation Plus price.
No. They said
for the download, right?
No. They said you do not need PlayStation Plus to play PlayStation Now games online.
That is correct.
What about the download?
That's a huge advantage. That's a huge advantage.
Doesn't count. It doesn't mean anything. You can still download it.
You can still download.
That's the thing.
So you can still buy. You can still buy games. Game Pass without Xbox Live.
No. Well, you need Xbox Live to play anything online. You can still download those games. It's the same way as on PlayStation. PlayStation Now, if you don't have PlayStation Plus, you can still buy games online.
That is true.
Download games.
That is true. That's an advantage.
That's an advantage. That's an advantage.
Is it $10 a month more advantage? But that's my
question. Like apples and oranges is taking two different perspectives of it. But I think you're coming up short with the pool of games that's inside PlayStation Now.
That's a good argument because the fact with Game Pass, obviously you're getting those Microsoft exclusives, new exclusives day and date, regardless of how you feel about Sea of Thieves, State of Decay. But Forza's coming, you know what I'm saying? Crackdown, all that stuff is day and date on the service, and it is yet to be seen whether or not PlayStation Now is going to evolve into something like that. As of right now, they're saying God of War 3. They ain't saying God of War. You know what I'm saying? Like, they said God of War.
Here's the thing I'm looking at. Here's the point of King. Like, okay, I looked at PlayStation Now last night because that's the first time I even bothered looking at it. I went on my PlayStation, I looked at it, I said, okay, hold up now. They got Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 4. I'm like, that's pretty good. I'm interested now. Let me take a look at this. And so I'm taking a look at it. I'm like, wait a minute. I can't download Fallout New Vegas on here. I'm gonna have to stream it. And not just that, but I'm going to have to stream the worst, objectively the worst version of Fallout New Vegas.
Whereas on the Xbox, obviously with the backup, look at the wizardry with Fallout 3 and all these games that backup are not only they're giving you these games, they're giving you 4K. Let me get into my point because it's like, here's the thing. At the end of the day, I respect that service. I like that because I remember the Gaikai acquisition with Sony, and I was like, streaming, I don't know. They really bet high on that, right? And I'm like, okay, And as it comes out, you did technical testing. It just wasn't that good. You know what I'm saying? Now, as far as the bigger picture, which is the backward compatibility thing, is this whole thing overrated? You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna say it's not overrated because if we look at something as simple as this month, the latest MPD. We got Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 2, number 8 on NPD. That's crazy. These are the people that say no one's playing all games, and shout out to Jim Ryan. This is a direct shot at that. And that's right next to the God of War, the Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey. That's insane. So one thing we know, Microsoft been kind of selling the future on that, and I'm kind of on board with that. And salute to those guys that do the emulation and all that, because I think that's amazing. And the key difference for me is, again, you have those titles that provide 4K enhancement. Did you see that Red Dead?
And I just want to point out something. Yeah. People that say the backwards compatibility is worthless, it's not doing nothing. Microsoft wouldn't keep putting more stuff on there. They have to be taking numbers to these because they don't they can't do this for free.
They
do pay licensing for these. Some companies look at it from the standpoint of Call of Duty.
Right.
Why would they let them put the best Call of Duties on Xbox if it's clearly not selling?
Exactly. And one thing we learned, again, shout out to Lord Bill Stillwell, a lot of this stuff is all marketing and setting up for next title. So look at, for example, a game like Red Dead. We all know Red Dead 2 is coming. So what do they do? Early this year, we got that Red Dead 4. You get that base galvanized, right? Because now you
purchase the next one on
I
your
gotta go back to the old joint, because the new one's coming. I didn't get a chance to. It's all.
And you notice you don't see no horse gonads in the old one.
I mean, look how many times
the new one to get them gonads.
It's like you said when it comes. Look how many times they've used older games as pre-order bonuses.
Yes, there's been time. Even when remember, like with Fallout, Baker, you're the king of this, right? With Fallout.
You got Fallout 4, you got Fallout 3.
You got Fallout 3.
Boom. Odyssey this year, the game with their Game Pass for Odyssey, the season pass is going to give you a remastered Assassin's Creed 3 and Liberation.
Exactly. So it's a perfect marketing tool and mini hype machine to now get these games that are backward compatible with these enhancements on the X and all these little extra stuff, and you still retain your data. You know what I'm saying? Everything that you did on your 360 is still there with and achievements and online play. So I just thought it was interesting that they have also now jumped into the mix. You know what I'm saying? And I'm curious to see how that goes forward for them with PS5.
It will go well with them because they already changed the narrative. Sony,
that's why I think to me it's going to be like I said, like a legacy service, because I don't think the guts of Gaikai can handle whatever Microsoft is looking at to do in terms of like streaming and stuff going forward. I don't think the guts of Gaikai can handle that. So they need to use that for something.
Shout out to Taser, like, who's playing these games like that. Look at MPD, brother. Look at MPD. That all you need to know. It was number 8 in NPD.
Well, I got a couple of people on my list that religiously play that Call of Duty, and they hit me up like, "Yo, you got that Call of Duty?" I'm like, "No, bro, get off my line." Like, but
that just lets you know, man. And again, I think about for next gen. We look at what's happening right now with Grand Theft Auto 5. Right, every time we see this thing. Now imagine.
We have a theory about that. Like I was talking to people about this. Like, why is Grand Theft Auto still selling so much? And like, they're selling more copies than people who are playing games. Like, I'm trying to figure out what's going on. We think we figured it out.
Exactly why it's so.
We think we figured it out because you look at that. They're bundling that with those shark cards.
Yes. And shout out to Slow Mo and them on Brap. They put that out. Yes, that is very true.
We were talking about that last night. We were like, wait a minute, you could. Like there's some of those shark cards that cost like $100, and bundling that with a $60 game. Like, hold up,
that's what they're doing.
Like, might as well buy the game again.
Yeah, and what's funny is you can, a lot of people, what they'll do, because I have a couple friends that actually do this all the time. Like a new expansion drops or something like that. With the new equipment and stuff that they can buy. I've seen a lot of my friends will buy that, the $60 with the $100 card. Then they'll turn around and sell the card. They'll sell the game because you get you can get an individual code. So they'll sell the game on like eBay or something and get some of that back.
Yeah, you're right. Hold on.
Or give it out free.
Well, he said PS Now streaming sucks, but you guys on the panel think Project Scarlet streaming is going to work flawlessly. Here's the thing, Face. I never said that. We all don't know how this thing's going to work, but we do know that
it has to be better than Gaikai. It has to be.
Okay, they might say it has to be better than Gaikai. What I'm going to tell you is we don't have it yet. But I will hope for you to be here next year when we do have it, so I can play it and I can tell you, yes, it's better than what you was talking about.
And for those of you who are sitting in the stream being like, you're not going to remember that. We remember everything.
We remember everything.
We remember conversations
with Lords of Petty.
Yo, listen, Anchorman, remember conversations that never happened.
No, I still remember you with that stupid conversation thinking that the Hulk could beat Superman.
Oh my God.
I told you, I told you I could beat Superman. Time out, we're going to do this right now. I told you I could beat Superman with 3 shiny rocks in my pocket. So I will knock Superman out cold with 3 shiny rocks in my pocket because Superman can't fight. Let's go.
3 kryptonite rocks. Yo, you stupid. Let's move on. Let's go all day. Not back there. Let's go all day. Moving. Or actually, Addict, let me get you on that. Did I get you on that, Addict? Did I miss you? on that.
What? Like, what was
the PlayStation now?
The PlayStation
is back compat overrated.
I mean, it's cool, but PlayStation. It sounds like I don't know what they're going to be doing with that service. What's funny is, what was who did that last? This might be a little bit off topic. Oh yeah, it was the Nintendo thing when they did the cloud save thing behind the premium service. Last time I remember, PlayStation does that. So it doesn't matter what PlayStation does. They're going to have a giant following. People are going to get this just because. At the end of the day, if this shows anything, competition is key. Sony saw this, realized that we got to adapt because let's be real. If Sony is adapting, they haven't adapted to a lot that Microsoft's done this whole generation. This is one of the things that they are adapting to. I can guarantee you that they see this as a threat. If they're adapting to this, they see this as a threat.
Their whole thing is waiting so long. They want to give the impression that they don't care, but they're watching it from the very beginning.
Absolutely.
And it matters to them. It's just a matter of not giving that impression outwardly that they're affected by this. So you can't do it anymore.
No doubt. And shout out to the chat for continuing the Anchorman versus King Hulk battle. Hulk is stronger than Doomsday. Batman killed him, bruh. Shout out to Kryptonite. Yo, they out of control. Lego Batman show. That's for Multiverse. Y'all know that's Anchor show. Please bring the same energy. Multiverse. Y'all out of control. Moving on. Lord Soft. What is going on with these handhelds, man? What's going on with the Vita, man?
Continuing the Sony love train on ILP today.
They say we don't do enough Sony topics.
I know, man. This is a straight up Sony show.
Well, I don't know about this, so please inform me.
So PlayStation announced that they were finally putting the nail in the coffin officially on the Vita, ending production in Japan, which is the market that has really been supporting the system up until now, ever since they essentially stopped making US versions. So they indicated that.
You mean when the Switch was announced and the Vita became irrelevant?
No. This is probably an anticipation. This is an anticipation of a new announcement, the PlayStation Swap coming out this November.
So then they announced that as of 2019 they will stop manufacturing the system and they will ship out whatever they have left, and that is that. So the Vita has been given a time frame for its death. But another interesting thing that they
the real question is, was the PlayStation Vita ever alive? That's the real question.
Y'all not going to disrespect
I love my Vita. I love my Vita for what it was.
Man. We're not going to do that in here. We're not going to do that. I love
Vita
that.
was great when it dropped. I loved it. And I love that OLED screen.
Woo! That OLED.
Yeah.
And party chat.
Yeah,
and I know. All these advanced features
on system, like
on system and achievement trophies. Like, bro, come on, man. Oh, continue.
So what was interesting about this is they specifically came out and said we have no plans for another handheld. So my question to you guys is, are they lying? And let me say this with this caveat: I don't think they have plans for a handheld that has its own library and its own ecosystem. I don't think they're gonna go. That's not happening. But I don't believe them. But there's not some sort of handheld device coming that has some sort of interactivity with either all this PlayStation Now back compat stuff we're talking, or even the PlayStation 5. That I don't believe.
Go ahead, Alex.
I could see them doing some kind of like PlayStation Now Vita or something like that. But to be honest with you, man, like, I think that they dabbled in the handheld market so long, and I think they're done. I really do. I don't think they're going. I think as of right now, the Switch is going to dominate anything handheld. I don't think they know for a fact they couldn't compete with the 3DS. What makes them think they can compete with the Switch and the 3DS? They're not doing it. They're out of that market.
But my question is this. And I agree, right? With a machine just like the Switch that has its own software. But what about, like, let's say, like I've been saying this before, like they're able to shrink down. They're able to shrink down PS4 to the point where
they're not going to.
You can essentially do that.
Research and development in that at all.
For me, it's like one of those things where I see, like, when you see the Switch, you see the value of having that ecosystem with you all the time, right?
But I know what you want.
The difference
Sovereign.
is
you want a better Switch I know what you want. You want a Switch that can actually play games. I know what you want.
The difference is Nintendo's never, went for the knock it out games. They've always been in that middle ground where they can make a game look pretty if they want, but they've always
never went for the power
over graphics.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
Sony is not that way. None of their games can run on a portable device.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it drained the battery too much.
Let me jump in, man.
Unless you stream it.
That's a viable thing. Like
it's gonna be called the PS4E, PS4 everyone.
Oh my god, this is a good one. This is a good one, man. I love the Vita. Like the Vita, prior to the Switch, that was my favorite handheld. I absolutely love it. I remember a lot of great games when I remember Grand Theft Auto and that thing ran flawless. Metal Gear Acid. I mean, I had a ton of games for that thing. I mean, even we played XCOM on that thing. Attic, remember? They had a perfect port of that. I mean, it was really cool. So, now with PSP and now the Vita, that's two non-successful endeavors in the portable space. So, I would love if they did a real handheld. I would love if they now
wasn't PSP successful though?
Maybe it was. I don't recall.
Yeah, that was successful.
I guess once they hacked it, it really got super successful.
They had proprietary software with the UMD, right?
What you're trying to do is compare the success to other handhelds that was in the market that were inferior towards power.
Yeah, they've always lost to Nintendo in that space. That's just fact.
Leave it to Nintendo.
You know what I'm saying? And Addict has a point. They've gone with power, right? They've gone with a lot of things that are appealing to us as hardcore gamers, but for whatever reason, it just didn't seem to catch. Now, to Saar's question, is like, do we see them secretly kind of preparing something like that to accompany PS5? I would love it, but I'm agree with Addict. I don't think they do that. Yeah, no. I think they've been burned enough. They've
been burned. This is the thing, though.
Why their games
aren't unto itself.
You know why the systems don't sell? Mm-hmm. And this is direct correlation to why the PlayStation systems sell. Right. They systems don't sell because that story-driven stuff is done great on a big screen. You can't translate that big screen to that little screen and think it's going to work. Nintendo have mastered that little screen.
Facts. That's their DNA.
But I think it's short-sighted to look at the way tech moves and to say that within the span of a couple of years we can't be
at a portable level. I'm not saying what you're saying. I'm saying they make games for the reason why you are mad at the 3DS and they don't throw it in the bushes is because they've mastered that handheld realm on how games are digested.
Is not happy with the Switch and he wants something else.
He does. That's the whole thing. He wants somebody else to do a Switch.
I want them to push
Switch in the bushes.
Listen, I want Sony in that space. I want them. I'm with Soft. Like I would love for us to be wrong, me to be wrong, and they come out and announce Vita 2 or whatever it is to compete in that space because we all know Grandpa ain't doing everything right. You know what I'm saying? Even though they're successful. My whole thing is when I see the announcement, 2019. Death date. That's the death date for the Vita. No more manufacturing, no more shipping. It's a dub, right? They stopped developing games for it since 2015. They ended production of the media. So then when they spoke to what's his guy? What's his name? The president, Sladen. And he said, look, his exact quote, he said, for whatever reason, and there are hosts of them, there were even more reasons if we were drinking beer, but Vita just didn't reach the critical mass with the audience, and thereby the development community doesn't get behind it, and thereby the audience doesn't come, and it's a quick negative spiral effect. And again, I just see this is their second attempt in this space, and I loved both handhelds. I love both, and I thought they were gonna do well. It's just not happening. I just can't see as much as I want it. Trust me, Soft. If they come out and you Sostradamus this, I will bend the knee again.
But like I'm saying, I have no faith or belief that it will be an ecosystem unto itself. No.
So what do you think? What
my thing is an extension. They're shrinking a PS4. Imagine. It is not out of the realm of possibility that in a couple of years' time you can get a handheld that can run PS4 type games. Now imagine you tell me, you can have Spider-Man on the go.
And that's a
But
Vita
here's the thing.
2.
All right,
You're saying a Vita 2.
Let me jump
It's
in.
not.
This is the first time
You're using the ecosystem you have already. I'm not saying you're making games.
Oh, so what you want?
No. What he's talking about is in terms of aesthetics,
right?
Where it's like, okay, I can't play Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze in docked mode. It just feels better in handheld mode.
Okay.
Right.
I can't play Fallout 4 on a Switch because I could play it on my X. I could play it on something else because it's just better for that type of screen.
Right.
It is designed for that. I think that's where the real discussion is. Is it where Nintendo's strength lies in that small level?
I think if you're talking about unifying an ecosystem,
hardware to fit your ecosystem, they are not willing to invest in hardware to fit your I don't care if you I know what you're saying. If you build it, it will come. No. They're not willing to invest. They took the punch in the face twice.
Right.
How many times do they got to get punched in the face
but giving
for them to stay?
But giving
that was separate. Yeah,
right. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Individual libraries for that. I'm not talking about that.
So you want the existing downloadable library?
Same thing I've been saying for Microsoft. If Microsoft gave me some sort of portable thing that allowed me to access the Xbox ecosystem wherever I am.
They
and
did
play
that already.
Those games.
See, here's the thing, Sovereign. At the end of the day, they can't compete in that. They just can't. Like Nintendo, I don't think you realize like how down Nintendo has that market. Like it's not even worth trying to compete with it.
But the thing is, you're not really competing in that market.
Yes, you are. You're competing with people that want a handheld experience.
What you're giving people is an extension of the PS ecosystem.
But you want them to make a PlayStation portable.
But
do you think
you guys misunderstand?
I understand his point. I think I understand where he's going. You're not saying. Is not saying like a traditional handheld in the sense.
No, not at all. I don't think that's happening.
Oh, you want an app?
That's happening.
You want the PlayStation
like
now?
Xbox is talking about where you can take Microsoft Future, where you can take that same experience and whether it be streaming or whatever it is on some type of a portable device, and you have the PlayStation 4/5 ecosystem on that device. That's the app.
But
that's the app.
That's
we're
not
talking
necessarily. Not everybody's going to do that app. Like you said, like Anchor said, like there was talk from Shuhei Yoshida that this is a possibility down the line, right?
Right.
The whole app thing, the same thing that Microsoft is doing. I've always been of the contention is that before we get there, there's going to be some sort of middle ground. And
so then you're talking about a system.
A system that extends the ecosystem.
I don't know. But how are they going to
extend ecosystem? You want an actual physical hardware that exists. They're not making physical anything. All right, they're not going to do that. That's going backwards. They're not going to take resources from something they can do forward to do that.
I just personally think
that's not going to happen.
I understand your point, but
I get it.
In order for them to do that, they have to actually, attempt to. And I think they're done with it. I don't think they have no intention. So they even started not supporting the Vita in the last year and a half it was out. Like they have no, since the PS4 started being hot, that's their focus.
The Vita failed because they stopped supporting it.
Right. But let me jump in.
And that happened way before then.
Here's the thing. Let's do the history. Right. When the PSP dropped at that time, it was mimicking PlayStation 1 experiences. Right. They were almost carbon copy, like the Ridge Racers, like all that stuff. Then the Vita comes out, right? And that's pretty much mimicking, PlayStation 3, I believe. As far as from a hardware standpoint, from a power standpoint. And to me, it's like they've always done that if you're talking about the physical hardware space. Now, if you're talking about this other thing, see, I'm with King. If you're talking hardware, I can't see it. They've taken too many L's.
I would give it like a 5% chance.
If you're
they would do an app though.
Yeah, like some type of app on the mobile phone, and now I got the Bluetooth PlayStation 4 control, like how they've jumped into the TV space, right? Remember when you bought that, your TV, your Sony joint, you had that app. And you can now do your PlayStation now. You know what I'm saying? And you had your thing. I see them going that way.
At the end of the day, they haven't built a brand for handhelds like Pokemon. They haven't built something that sells millions and millions of consoles.
Which is original for that platform. I agree. The problem, but the thing that they've done is they've tried to copy their hardware experiences onto these miniature devices, and sometimes it works, and for the most part, it doesn't, because people like, whatever. To me, you know what the greatest feature they did, Saul? And I was very sad to see the whole thing with the Vita. The greatest feature they had was remote play.
Remote play.
I loved remote play. I loved the fact that, it wasn't always the latency with certain games. Like I couldn't do. I've tried Destiny.
The control set scheme.
Yeah, and they didn't have what the Switch had with the control system. Where the Switch has evolved with the double analogs and all that.
It's like what you guys said. There's a market for consoles and there's a market for handheld. They try to make a console for handheld market and not a handheld market. Pokemon is one of the perfect games you could play on the go on handheld, and that's why it's so. I am going to right now say that Pokemon is the single only reason that their handheld market growed over the years. Sure, there's other games that heighten that experience, but 9 times out of 10 people bought that platform for Pokemon, and then they bought other games afterwards.
Yeah.
No, listen, but I just want a last thing, because I know we've been jumping on Saul. Let's finish his point with what his vision and what you want.
And no, I just want you guys to be clear, because I said it from the beginning. I just don't get the impression you guys understand what I'm saying.
That's why I want you to clear it to us.
I totally do. I agree with you 100%. They're not going to make a handheld that has its own games. They would not do that. They would not. They failed twice in that. Leave that to Nintendo completely.
Okay. So you with us? You with us on that?
Well, I don't think they did that with the Vita. They always try to downport stuff to the Vita.
No,
they did
the
that
Vita.
much.
The Vita. What they messed up with the Vita was that the Vita came out in like a weird time span where the PS4 wasn't ready yet, and they didn't, and they sort of ham-fisted like the PS4 and the whatever what's it called, Cog?
The remote play. The
remote play. This was all sort of tacked onto the Vita. See, that was the problem. Vita came out in a very weird time.
It came like towards the end of the PS3 cycle.
I mean, I get
more of PS4 launching.
I don't think it was that. I think it was the games. Name me a good Vita game that sold Vitas.
It sold Vitas.
That Uncharted was kind of good.
Uncharted at launch, right? At launch.
What Sovereign is saying, and let me get this right. So the whole digital library for the PlayStation, right? That you have access to that. Right? This is what you're saying, right?
Was that what you're going?
You have everything
they got. You got access to all the PlayStation Now.
It would be essentially be like a mini PS4.
All right. So this is
you. That is also has some functionality with the PS5, whatever that may be.
Question. All right. So it has access to all that digital.
He said Tearaway. What's Tearaway, y'all? I don't know what that is.
Tearaway was that game.
Yeah, that paper Tearaway game.
It's the paper. It looks like a bunch of paper.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll send you some pictures. I'll send you some pictures. You know what I'm talking about.
It has all access to all that PlayStation stuff, right? And whatever limited stuff to the PlayStation 5. But you want them, not an app. You want a physical hardware that can run it.
I think the app is further down the line. I don't think it yet. At least
I'm just not talking about that. Yeah. I'm just talking about what you want. You want the physical. You want them to make a physical system that can play that stuff digitally. No separate ecosystem. That ecosystem. You are right. You
one
want
ecosystem.
That hardware.
One ecosystem.
All right, it's not coming.
If putting it that way.
Hardware, no.
0% chance. I don't see it at
Hardware,
all.
no.
Whatsoever.
Let's get the chat and move on, because Fastback, I understand you solve, but Xbox, Sony, gaming, mobile streaming apps instead of handheld system, because the apps can reach more gamers. Look at Fortnite.
I completely understand, but they have not shown anything that they're ready for that. Microsoft has been talking about it for like a year, right? Obviously, they have something different.
But the PlayStation Now is on their TVs, though. Like when you get a Sony television, you get PlayStation Now. Like when you get that little Experion failed phone, you have PlayStation Now app.
They were low key. They were low key treating the Vita after a certain amount of time like it was the Kinect. Like we didn't.
Yeah, they were acting like it
we didn't make that. That was by the B team.
Yeah. Yeah, they even clowned themselves. They was like, oh, remember one show? They was like, and we have a video game that now. See, like, but back in the day, like they wouldn't even clown themselves on the variety of it. So
I just feel like they're done with that market.
I'm gonna tell you,
they don't want nothing to do with it.
Mhm.
considering their penchant for borrowing ideas, I don't. I don't want
He want a powerful switch
They've
so
already
bad.
borrowed that idea. They
He want that powerful switch so
Listen,
bad.
I'll tell you.
course.
Shout out to Sam. He's like, for the
Ask
foreseeable
Nintendo.
future, Santo, he says they're done with the portable market. They're done with smaller games, but the occasional bone Japan throws at us. And he's basically, they're just saying from now on, they see every studio must deliver big budget cinematic experiences or they're gone. Yeah, I mean, I hear what you're saying, Sav. I mean, it'll be, I would love them to get back into it, but it remains to be seen if they're going to do it. And he also said PlayStation Now is no longer on TVs. You know what I'm saying? But then Fastback says View TVs on Sony TV still have it. So I'm not sure. We got to get clarity on that as far as what the TVs are doing. But I remember when it did.
I know they did pare back on it.
Yeah,
they did pare back on it.
I think
Mm.
if PlayStation now that they've went this direction,
Mm-hmm.
starts getting momentum and Sony reinvests back into it, I think it might show back up on TVs with this new direction.
Paul Smooth says it sounds like they need a Ryzen chip in the moving along. We'll finish with the last J.
Let's get this last topic. Let's go.
Out here, football is popping. Yeah, this is the bonus topic for me. So, Nintendo Switch Online has debuted. The thoughts and impressions, So, let me jump in. I'll make this quick again.
This is a fast topic.
This is a fast topic. This is gonna be super fast. We know who didn't buy it.
Straight.
We know which lords didn't buy it. So yeah, man. My thoughts and impression. Obviously, the NES library. I know, Sav, you got a chance. Did you get a chance to touch that? The NES.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely. So touch that. The emulation. There's some minor nitpicks on the button configuration. I guess you can't configure the way you want as far as because it has like the Japanese style configuration with confirmation circle and X kind of thing.
Kind of reverse,
so, yeah, kind of in the inverse. So that's like a minor nitpick. But other than that, everything.
You can't change that, right?
No, you can't. So you got some minor nitpicks there, and I want to shout out Lord Kaibatsu because I have some things to say. Now, when it comes to game sharing, now we have to admit, shout out to Lord Addict. When we heard this announcement, we were
that was a surprise.
Grandpa.
And then we found out what their terms is.
Yeah. We were like, Grandpa Nintendo.
You get to share your high score with the next guy.
To be honest with you, the way the fact that they're even trying to get into that game sharing at all must be doing something on Xbox and PlayStation.
Developers
have to
my game score.
Blocked it. It's been out since the beginning of the generation. You've caught Xbox executives multiple times pretty much promoting it. So it's clearly got to be helping the industry.
So I'm sitting there. I'm like, exactly. So I'm like, yo, Grandpa.
Ready. You was lathered up. You was ready to go.
I was like, Grandpa out in the club with the young boys.
And he showed that he still drink Mad Dog 2020.
He had that old Jackie. He had that
boons. Drinking some boons.
Okay, Grandpa, we're going to the club with the other systems tonight. Right? So I shout out to Kaibatsu. We like, yo, Kai hit me. He's like, we got to do that sharing. They got it. I'm like, let's do it. So everything followed the initial sharing procedure that I would normally do with Xbox and PlayStation. So I'm like, all right, cool. So we sat our credentials. I'm like, yes, sir, let's get it in the
Oh, baby, they do that when you try to go into your own profile. You're like, no.
Why, when we swap the profiles, I'm like, okay. So I said,
you got locked out?
I said,
I'm
on your profile. I see the games that you've downloaded from your eShop, right? I'm gonna download those to my system, right? You download. He's like, oh, your library's crazy on eShop. I'm gonna download all these games. So I think I downloaded Dead Cells and whatever. So okay, I'm in the mix, baby. I'm ready to pop my bottle. So then I'm like, all right, cool. So I clicked on the game. So Nintendo told me,
no,
that's not
Kaibatsu.
Nintendo told me that you are not Lord Kaibatsu. That's Lord Kaibatsu's game. So I said, oh, so Kai's like, yeah, don't stress it. Just log in as me, but just let me know because we can't do it at the same time. I said, no. I said, no, Kai. You're meaning to tell me that this game now, if we're supposed to be digitally sharing, I cannot play
No,
this
you
game.
can't play your system.
And what's funny is it works. It's worse for you, both of you, because you guys are on night shifts. So one of you is going to be playing.
I'm like, all right. So he said, yeah, but
you gotta play in shifts. You gotta play in shifts.
It's cool because you could do it when you're offline. He said when you're offline, you could play the game. But my thing is, why do I have to take your facade? Why do I gotta switch your
Uber? Why is you switch your Uber? You only get to drive the car at night, and he get to drive the car in the daytime. You gotta switch Uber.
Bro, I was so disrespectful. I was still trying to get me. I said, no. I said, Kai, it's the worst. I'm not co-signing it. I said, why do I have to be you to play? When I'm on Xbox, I can be me.
No, you gotta put on the Kai Batu skin. You gotta fool. You gotta fool the
You gotta do
the red skin. You gotta have the Kai Batu red skin. You gotta have his eye.
And shout out to Kai under the bus. This is my he's like, you don't got nothing to worry about, Cog, because they don't have a cheese bits. So
you are earning nothing.
No. Grandpa Nintendo's like the Stan Lee cameo. Like it has a night guard. It's like, yeah, you look close enough.
Let him in. Let him in. He's wearing his skin. Let him in. He got his skin on.
So disgusted.
You got to do the skin exchange.
You got me excited.
You know what it is? You know what it is? You got to take that Kabatsu mushroom so you turn into it.
He over there frauding as me. And it's like he can't even play. Oh man!
And you get no benefit. You get none.
Cog, you got me excited when you started this for a minute. I was like, wait, game sharing? Like this is what the family thing is? I was like, damn.
Because we were still arguing, and I'm like, bro, that means we cannot play. Let's just say I didn't buy Mario Kart, right? And then I downloaded, he bought it, I downloaded. We can't play co-op online at the same time?
No.
Oh,
it's called game testing. What it should have been called was game testing. You can test my game. Come test my game.
What's funny is that's been on the 3. Like that's literally just like you could do that on the Xbox One. All you have to do is just keep them side in. Like
add it.
No fastback. This tell me that this is $20 a year. You get what you pay for.
No. You know what the deal is? But you know what the real deal is? You do that family plan. You can have 8 people in your family, and you can have.
That's a good.
Oh my god, that is
that's a good.
$40 per year.
Addict.
Oh my god.
This is what this is, and this is how Nintendo has finessed you. Let me tell you exactly what it is. They gave you couch co-op with one controller, right? So what they did was they gave you one controller, one person at a time. Like they took it back to the one controller, watch me play days. So, but they just made it that you could be in the other side of the earth with that one controller,
and not
you gonna watch me play. No, you will not play. You're gonna watch me play.
It's like Sav. It's one step forward, one step back.
They snatch it away, right?
Yeah, it's always they always snatch.
They don't do anything wrong to me because I expect it. They don't do anything wrong to me. I don't know what they doing upstairs because I don't pay them any mind. They're in the bushes until they come out with a game.
They snatch the feet from the jaws of victory. Like they always find a way. There's something that should be so obvious and done. Yo, y'all gotta stop calling the Nintendo timeshare service. Yo,
Nintendo timeshare. That's it. Yo, that's it. Who got that? That's comment of the day. That's comment of the day. Nintendo timeshare. That's comment of the day.
Like it's like, yo, how many hours I put in this month? Okay, cool. Like I was so disgusted.
they only count the hours that you work. It's Uber.
You know what the sad part about this is, man? You know what the saddest part about this whole nonsense is? Once the silver rolls around, don't matter what the hell is in that service. I'm kidding.
No doubt. We're going to get that smash. We're going to do that smash.
Yeah, and you're going to only play one at a time. So you're going to get that smash. You're going to get the online for what?
Johanzel got the comment other day. Yeah, it was Johanzel.
We could all just take turns doing the story.
We ain't taking turns doing anything. I'm buying mine, and I got to play. Wait. Yes. Let's keep this clear right now.
Let's be clear.
I need that online to play that Smash Brothers?
Yes,
sir.
Guess who's not buying that Smash Brothers?
You don't need it to play local.
No. You don't need to play
local. I don't care about y'all people. I don't care about y'all. I'll buy the hell out that game then. But if you told me that you can't play this game, if I hit play and it says you need online, I guarantee you, I'm gonna video this. I'm gonna Twitch live it. I'm gonna walk straight to Best Buy and get that game back because it's lies.
My God.
You can't buy those NES controllers though. You out of that club.
Yes, because you have to buy the Nintendo Online service to get those Nintendo controllers.
You just said something I don't care about. Hold on. Let me show you something. Time out. Because you honestly really think I give a damn.
Like, no, I don't.
Time out. Listen. I'm in the club right now. Look. I'm in the club. Look. The club is there.
You realize you have to have the subscription if you want to use your amiibos.
If you tell me that I can't use something that I purchased, I will file a lawsuit against that old man, and he will make sure that my amiibos work. Let me find out my amiibos don't work. Find out my amiibos don't work on my amiibos.
Get your amiibos down. Listen, man, this was definitely an L for I was disgusted.
That's the biggest L y'all took this year.
Game sharing is not something
It's not game sharing. Stop calling it game sharing. It's called time sharing. It's Nintendo time share.
It doesn't bother me because I'm not a vampire like y'all, so I can play.
So you don't care about the nighttime. You ain't got no
thing I will be using this for is if there's a game I'm curious about and Kai bought it. Then it's like, okay, let me give it a test run.
But what if he wants to play his game? Like, you got one bathroom in your house. Like, you can only use the one bathroom. Kabatsu's in the bathroom. I can't go in yet. Get out of here.
This isn't game sharing. This is literally just signing into someone else's profile playing the game.
Yo, this is insane. Yo, oh my God, for $5, huh? All this for $5.
We have to admit, Switch
timeshare turns off at 8 p.m.
Time's up. That's what it's called. It's called Time's Up.
We have to admit, as much as y'all clown.
And then when you try to play it, it's like you should be at bed, little kid.
It's a Nintendo Time's Up. Yo, it's gonna pop up. It's gonna say you've been signed out. What the hell?
Well, no, that's what it does. That's what it does.
I'm dead.
If the other person logs in, if the owner of the account logs in, it freezes up your whole thing.
Yo, I want y'all to understand. Remember, it was like, I think it was last week. I was joking on this before last week. And I said that they was locking you to your system. And if you didn't like save or do something, you was like trapped to that box. Yeah. This is why. Mm-hmm. It's all leading to one thing is leading to the next. Mm-hmm. This is the rabbit hole. You're locked into that system. So when it's time, they can't control your system, right? So you can just automatically boot them out. Now I'm the real Kabatsu. And you just be like, wow. And you take off. Even if he had the last boss, he got that one more hit and like, wow. And the boss just look at you and be like, "You not Kabatsu though."
Yo, King, they love your one bathroom comment. The chat is loving that. They go in there.
Nintendo got one bathroom.
As much as the Switch is controversial, it definitely is a funny topic on ILP. I have to admit, we always have the most laughs with these.
Bro,
let's end this show, man. Salute. Let's get these polls out of here. Then we run out of here. Football has started. All right, so. With the excuse me, I lost my thought for a second. Okay, so with the recent success of the Nintendo Mini Systems and Xbox backward compatibility title sales, is Sony hypocritical for announcing both the PlayStation Classic and PlayStation Now download features after previous statements of gamer non-interest. A, no, pure business move. Sony is adapting to the demands of the market. B, yes, Sony was lying until they saw the profits. Or C, I don't care who's playing these ancient relics anyway. That is the question. Those
That's
are
addict.
the that's addict. I know that's
That's addict.
smiling right now. Those are the choices. Please rock the ILP vote when it goes up on Twitter. But Lord Anchorman in the building, cameo holding us down. Where can the fine people find you? What is going on in the realm of multiverse?
Well, you guys can find me on Anchorman V2 over. It's on pretty much every platform at this point.
Okay, so we're going to do some videos from Anchorman
Where he
V2?
holds the hot sauce
Good
for
luck
his
with that.
show. Where he got the hot sauce. He keep the hot sauce.
Yeah, where he's
for
going to
his
give
show.
all his
And
real
he give us that
information.
old ranch salad dressing stuff that he gave us over here.
Multiverse show is going to be at 8 o'clock tomorrow. You guys can check out the show. I'm going to go all in, basically giving every little piece of information.
All the
I
stuff
know
that he
about this
didn't do
Telltale
here.
stuff.
Make sure that you tune in so you can run back to me and tell me if it was really hot sauce.
No doubt. Get it, go, son.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it. So,
All right, cool, man. Like I said, so wait, multiverse back tomorrow? What's up? We now,
That's right.
So I said back tomorrow.
I'm sorry, I missed that. Okay, King's talking.
Back 8 p.m. So we'll be on.
No doubt.
We do our 45-minute show. So
No doubt. Lord,
Yeah, it ain't no 3-hour show. It's 45 minutes. Please tune in.
please. Salute that. So bring that energy. Same energy over to the Lord. Shout out to everybody over there. You know what I'm saying? Nick, the Brett was my man, and then of course Fame Entertainment.
Yes, sir.
Mike Pete, the True. You know
Yes,
what I'm saying?
sir.
You know,
That is one lit ass show.
and of course Samuel Tolbert, the hardest man in show business on every pod.
He's the James Brown of that.
That man, he works hard, man. No doubt. Salute.
The
to
Adderall
him.
master, because he don't sleep.
Word, Dick Fam is in the building. You already know. Salute Anchorman for coming through and holding us down. Of course, we got Lord Addict coming through in the emergency, not afraid of no smoke.
That man duck and slide. My man duck and slide.
It's getting close to the month, and the man is still
And
here.
my spidey senses tingling.
God of War versus Spidey. He's held it down. The man has no fear. Thank you for coming through, brother. Where can the fine people find you? What you got going on?
You can find me on Destiny 2 in about 30 minutes.
Woo! Raiden.
Get it. That's my dude.
No doubt. That's what's. Oh, come on, Frog. You can't be jumping in late, man. Come on, Frog. What's up, Frog? That's up, chat. No doubt. Lord Soft, man. What's going on? Holding the Vita flag down today. Fighting the Lords. It was crazy. That man was on his square, baby. He was like the warlock. He threw the sword down in the ground. What's up? What's going on? I want that. Shout out, son. What's going on, son? When you
You can catch me hopefully playing some Tomb Raider this week and posting pics up, and then you can catch me on the Switch. I mean, Lord Kaibatsu playing playing Undertale. Playing Undertale.
Time.
One bathroom, y'all. One bathroom in the crib.
You know what? You have one bathroom, somebody just got to go in the tub. That's all.
Wow. He said, take your wow. He said, find the back door so you can go in the tub.
Yo, Fastback said, shout out to Saab. He held his own. He been, Johan was like, nah, you got to bend the knee, fam.
Nah, that knee bent, son.
No. Well, so that's what you can find. You be doing that.
Yeah, I'll be doing that hopefully, and not working hopefully.
No doubt, you know what I'm saying. And of course, like I said, shout out to everybody in the chat. Chat was absolutely lit. You know what I'm saying. Everybody, please hit that like, subscribe. We already know Tick Fam's in the building. We have Anchor in here. Please subscribe to all the outlets on the Inner Circle Network. We got that popping, and of course on the Iron Lord Podcast YouTube, got some great content, y'all. Combat Talk King.
Yo, make sure that you get to that page and like, follow, and subscribe. I don't like the numbers there. The numbers there is not equating to what the numbers should be. So if you're following the Instagram, if you're following my Twitch, and I got like 2,000 some change people, Cognito got 2,000 some. Why those 2,000? Get your behind over there and hit that like and subscribe and figure it out. Figure it out right now.
Hold on. Irrelevant is like, who won the bet? It's not over yet.
Oh, don't worry, Irrelevant. Just jump in my party.
halfway through.
Bend the knee. We are gonna put that in the title.
Spidey says
Spidey
you
versus
know
God of
who
War
won.
once, and we're trying to hopefully fingers crossed. I'm put this out there in the universe. We hopefully we can get Lord Matt Piscatella out on that show. That would be great to
That
have
would
him
be
as well.
crazy.
So, but that is when those numbers come out and it's an official for the month. Then we will do that. So he's thirsty for you to bet the knee.
Crazy.
Continue, King. I'm sorry about Kyle.
Nah, but I'm gonna be on that Spider-Man, but I got that Jurassic World to watch.
Yes,
so
sir.
the family gonna tune in to that. Then I'm gonna get on that that Spider-Man. Get that Spidey sense going on that.
Oh, hold on. Shout out to Fast, but yes, it is okay to check out NLG every Friday night. That's right, Tick Fam affiliates in the building, Fastback, and I gotta get you on the show too, Fastback. It's long overdue. So yes, we are TICGN family, also Brat Podcast, also the gaming perspective. Let's go. Also, Four Guys with Quarters. That's
there
all
we go. Let's
family.
go, man.
You know
all
what I'm saying?
family, one love.
Lord Sam, hold you down, Attic. He said it's not over until Matt Piscatella sings. That's right.
Bro.
Addict's holding on, baby. That's right. My man came for the smoke. It's not over.
Bro. You're still fighting and it's over. The bell and ring down.
You know what, man? All I know is you better hope that this is
what
do you think they're gonna do?
Ego can't afford to lose right now.
Bro.
Dad, what do you think they're gonna do? They're just gonna return those copies of the game now?
I know, right? Like, bro, wake up, bro. Wake up, bro. 3 days, he done jumped in your man's diggings, boy.
3 million, like it was close. Like
3 days, man. He was in your man's diggings. He was digging your man. 3 days, he dig him out.
I have a question for the people here. How much did God of War sell in its first month?
3 million.
3 million.
No. God of War sold 5 million.
In a month?
Yeah, and your man Spider-Man did it in 1 week at 3 mil.
He did 3.3
in 1 weekend.
3 days. In like
3 days.
God of War is 3 million.
He said from Friday to Monday, he smacked the mess out of him.
But Addict is right too. They did 3 million in 3 days, so it's close. In Addict's,
it ain't close. It ain't close. It ain't close at all. The man ain't got that global appeal. He ain't got that shine on his head. The man is done, son.
So you be acting like it destroyed. It was 300,000.
I don't care what it. Like I told you in our DM. I don't care if it win by 1. Your man is done, son.
Well,
he's not done.
When the numbers are announced, like I said, the terms of the bet is if Addict loses, he has to bend the knee on.
Hey, yo, this is God of War hanging from.
You know what I'm saying?
He's got to bend the knee and he's got to buy Fallout 76 for everybody in the room.
If King wins, Addict has to bend the knee on camera. If Addict wins, King has to buy the game of Addict's choice. So
yeah. The regular basic game of Addict's choice. Addict think he was gonna get some more.
He's gonna try to get the Super Deluxe edition.
He ain't getting it, so it ain't there. But you gonna get the base stock. You got the base stock, but you don't got it. Because you lost. Get them knees ready. I don't want no cushioning. I want no cushioning on your knees either. I want your knees bare on the floor. I want straight raw knees on the ground.
We'll see.
I want straight raw knees.
Oh, by the way, this is a big moment right here.
Let's go.
I'm about to finish Fallout 4 entirely.
Wow. Look at that. It took you 12 years.
I've done every playthrough. I'm about to finish it in about an hour. So I'm almost done with it.
Oh my God. Look at you. Your dexterity. That's crazy. That was needless. Nobody cared about that.
No doubt. Salute them. Well,
yeah, after this, I'm not playing it anymore. Until Fallout 76 comes out. So
that's like in a week.
That's like 2 months.
Yo, you are the best with that Fallout. I'm not gonna lie.
His marketing game is crazy.
Hell yeah.
Man, for me, pretty much it's shoot out with Combat Talk and all that good stuff is up there. And also shout out to Ebontis. We got a fire Flashpoint that's up. Please again support the YouTube channel. We still have original content over there. It is fantastic. We need to get those subs up too, by the way. So please,
that's what I'm talking about. Get over
there, y'all. Gotta help out Tick, and gotta help out the Lords here. But it's been a fantastic. We had some great topic, great debate, and everybody. If anybody has anything else left to address,
hurry up! I gotta get to the bathroom. Right now.
No, everybody enjoy your Sunday football season has started. Peace.